year-round by offering discounts, supporting veteran initiatives, and with their annual Shower for a Soldier bath makeover giveaway. And right now, they're saying thank you with the New York Sash Memorial Day sale. And you can take advantage by going into their showroom, save 20% off, and you could win a free grill along with a flag for attending a parade. By the way, no purchase necessary. It's Memorial Day weekend at New York Sash, all this week at the Idea and Design Center, 349 Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro.
One more?
Sure.
Just one more comment before we go to break, because we're going to move on to something else. Migrants are asylum seekers, and as such, they can apply for work authorization after 150 days. New York City's funding covers lodging, health care, service workers, assisting with asylum paperwork during that time. The, quote, what next would be a legal transition to the workforce, building self-sufficiency, and tax revenue. That was a comment that came in.
All right. Sheriff, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Are you ready to make the most important decision for your child's future? Some are easy, some are not. Some make all the difference, like choosing Notre Dame schools. Offering grades pre-K through 12, your child will be ready to learn and thrive in a challenging atmosphere surrounded by great teachers and the most current technology. Notre Dame offers small class sizes, high academic standards, and spiritual fulfillment. At Notre Dame, we foster an environment of diversity and community. Students feel supported and more confident in achieving their goals. Our students learn from each other and are challenged to grow and develop their innate talents. Notre Dame is faith-based, but everyone is welcome. If you have higher expectations for your child, Notre Dame offers a higher level experience. If you're ready to launch your child's future into the most successful career path and build the next generation of leaders, call today for a tour or visit NotreDameUtica.org. Notre Dame schools, ready to learn, destined to lead.
If you're in the market for a new mattress, no one in New York State has all the brands under one roof that your brand name Superstore Mattress Express has. Names like Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy Hybrid, Purple, Puffy, the Number Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh and Lavish, and more. Check out these Memorial Day deals. Any King or Queen Tempur-Pedic or select Stearns & Foster with adjustable base, take your pick. A giant 58-inch flat screen TV or a $300 in free bedding accessories. How about this? Any King or Queen set in the store, $9.99 or higher, other than Tempur-Pedic, get a free adjustable base upgrade. A free adjustable base upgrade. How about the Number Bed by Instant Comfort? We have the Flex set in King or Queen, an industry-leading 25-year warranty. 5 years, no interest, no money down for qualified buyers. Then take your pick, a giant 65-inch flat screen TV, $500 prepaid gas card, or stainless steel gas grill. Go to MattressExpressNY.com or call 1-800-NEW-BEDS.
Hi, we're Comparion Insurance Agency. Right now you're thinking, Comparion, never heard of them. We know. We also know that you have no idea that Comparion Insurance agents are local and provide expert advice. So to help it stick, we're going to say local agent 4 times in the next 15 seconds. Ready? Go. Our local agents know you and your community. Our local agents offer insurance from top carriers. Our local agents have minty fresh breath.
Find us at ComparionInsurance.com. Comparion Insurance Agency. Local agents. Expert advice.
And there's number 4.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
So coming up in a brief little moment, we'll speak with Tanya J. Powers on the Surgeon General, the story that broke yesterday, about the Surgeon General and kids and social media, sounding the alarm that there's danger out there for children and social media. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. And sticking with the story of the migrant story, also this morning, by the way, Hobaika is on, and we're going to talk about the Utica School Board and the abrupt resignation of the superintendent yesterday. So we'll speak with Joe coming up later on. All right. I got to tell you that I didn't believe this was true, because if it were true, we would be talking about a massive amount of just greed and ignoring the decency of taking care of people. I realize this migrant issue is controversial, and I want everybody, I'm just saying, just stop for a moment and let's start thinking about being human beings and compassionate. We're talking about people here. Now that I've got everybody all fired up, I want to tell you what I'm talking about. I cannot believe that in Syracuse at this hotel that the owners of the hotel have, it seems, such greed that they would be willing to kick everybody out of the hotel who's been living there with no care about those people whatsoever, no compassion whatsoever about the people who have been living there. There are construction workers that have been living there. In some cases, people have been living there for years. There's a nurse who's been living there. They've all been given an eviction notice to get out immediately, and in most cases with no assistance whatsoever. Why? Because the owners of this hotel in Syracuse or in Salina have cut a deal. And as Sheriff Mashel had said, they probably own several around the state. They've cut a deal where it's not like they're getting garbage for rent. These are people who are paying for a tiny little studio $700 a month. There's people paying $1,200 a month for these, a double bed and a kitchenette, and they're being booted. How much are they getting per room for these migrants? So you're willing to kick out these people who've been paying rent because you can get a better rent from New York City? That is disgusting. It's terrible. I didn't believe the story was true when it was told to me. But Syracuse.com has done an in-depth investigation into it. They interviewed people. These are people that are like, I pay my rent every month. I've been living here. This is where I live. I have a little daughter, et cetera, et cetera. And now I'm being told I have to get out immediately. I mean, it's disgusting. And this is not an issue about whether or not we should be taking care of immigration, but it just completely underlines the statement we need to take care of our own people before we start. This isn't even that. This is worse than that. This is evicting our own people so we can give these people a place to live. And it's not about compassion at all. It's about making money. And it's disgusting. Aren't there laws in New York City? Meanwhile, this is the state. Let's not forget. This is the state that refused landlords the right to be able to evict someone who wasn't paying their rent for month after month after month. And this is being allowed? I can't even believe it. It's being allowed in the name of, well, we're going to be the state that steps up for these immigrants. This is disgusting. It is just terrible, right? Right? So think about it.
Our agreement on everything rolls into a second day now. I can't believe it.
These landlords have been unable to evict people who were destroying their property, not paying their rent, basically squatting in their property. And now you have a situation where the state is using, well, in this case it'd be New York City, or they're using one of these, quote, landlords, and they're booting people just like that. I would think there'd be a law that would protect these tenants from being evicted. Like, they're talking about, I got a notice last week. They said I got to be out by tomorrow. I mean, that's just terrible.
I completely agree. So, and it's not, as you said, with the COVID situation, it was essentially you couldn't charge them rent. In this particular situation, they're paying whatever the market rate is, whatever's being asked for. I assume they're paying, otherwise they wouldn't rent to them.
You're right. They're
saying,
paying it. Yep.
I can get whether it's $800 a night, $900 a night, $1,000 a night.
It looks like rent there is currently ranges from $700 to $2,100 a month. So what are they getting? How much are they being given to allow these people to live in this location? Wow. I could see initially, somebody had said to me, well, that's kind of a broken down hotel and it's really not used anymore. Well, apparently it has been. And much like we have, although if you stay in Utica because you're in the middle of construction, you're working on the hospital, chances are you're staying in a really nice hotel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where are you staying? I'm staying at the Hilton Suites, Hotel Suites by Hilton or whatever that is down there. It's a beautiful hotel. up there, they're living in kind of a difficult place, but it's worth it because they got a roof over their heads, they've got a bed, a place for if there is a kid involved, and now they're being booted out. These are 1- and 2-room suites with kitchenettes. Some have children, many have pets. This is in the Syracuse story. In all, hotel management rented 79 rooms to people who were there for more than a month. Then the hotel gave people less than a week to figure out where to go. A nurse who had been living there for 2 years said the hotel corporate management gave her a few days to pack up her life and get out. Asaf Fingelman, a developer with a company that owns the Candlewood Suites, has declined requests for an interview from the newspaper. It's unclear how much the company will make off the deal. And it is just, and by the way, it's a New York City hotel, ownership group that owns the hotel. Mm-hmm. 2 days after the hotel management told residents they had to leave, the Salina town supervisor got a call informing him that New York City was planning to transfer a busload of migrants from the city to the hotel, the Candlewood Suites. The call came from Chris Ellis, who works for New York City Mayor Eric Adams. I hate to say, but they just think about upstate as, we'll just throw everything upstate. Nobody will care.
Yeah.
Or those that care, there aren't enough of them to make any difference in the world.
Yep. Exactly right. Yeah, it's sad.
And what I had mentioned, and this is in the story too, it's possible the hotel is violating the law by forcing long-term residents out. A hotel guest who stays 30 days or more is considered a tenant and must be evicted through the courts, just as if they were a tenant in an apartment, according to Susan Griffith, a managing attorney with Legal Services of Central New York.
Well, there's a simple fix to that.
For more than a year, the hotel management has been marketing the property to people who need a place to stay but are having trouble finding an apartment. It worked before residents were told to leave. 79 of the 123 rooms were rented to people who had been there for a month or longer.
What you say is to whether it's I don't want to blame a politician by name if I don't know who it is, but whoever they've made the arrangement with, I need you to cover my legal costs too when I get them booted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. All right, then we don't have an issue here. Yep, I'll kick them out by the end of the week.
Now, last night there was two judges, I believe, issued an injunction stopping this from happening.
Wow.
Temporarily, by the way, temporarily. But the fact that they were willing to do this and just kick these people out, I do not understand. It's the most horrible example of greed that you can look at. It's just awful.
Yeah, it is an ugly situation. So these people now become homeless? Where were they going to go?
Well, at this point now, here's the problem with this. There was an injunction, and maybe Julie, you can correct this. The injunction is preventing the migrants from coming into the hotel. I do not believe that the injunction prevents these people from still being evicted. So now the hotel management is kind of screwed, right? They're evicting these people. Maybe in some cases people have moved out already and found another place to live. And so they don't know if these migrants are going to end up coming up here. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was a court order that prevented these people from being evicted. I don't believe that's the case, though.
Wow.
So here we go, right? This is just a terrible example of how they're dealing with this situation. It's just awful. Tanya J. Powers on the line right now from Fox News Radio. Tanya, good morning.
Good morning.
This became all of a sudden, I'm just going to throw this story at you just quickly, just so you have it. But in Syracuse, there was a busload of migrants that were coming up, and you have these injunctions and all of this. The problem is a hotel developer, in order to make more money than he or she is currently making, decided to take the lump of cash and kick out 70 families who were living in this long-term hotel Some of them are nurses, some are contractors,
So
et
like
cetera, et
efficiency
cetera.
apartments?
They're kitchenettes. It's an efficiency apartment.
Okay.
Formerly a hotel. But they just evicted all of them so they would have room to put the migrants in, which, by the way, they're getting more money for that. It's just a terrible story up here.
Wow. That's quite something. So where does this come from? Like, who? I'm assuming somebody's investigated this.
If you look to Syracuse.com has the full investigative report on it. They've interviewed tenants and I mean it just shows you how this whole issue is tearing everybody apart. And yet in the middle of all of it, you can always count on someone to be greedy, and that's sadly that becomes the headline. So we did talk about this yesterday a little bit, but somewhat confused as to what the Surgeon General is saying. And basically, parents should beware that social media could be a danger to your children.
Yes. Which part is the confusing part?
I've kind of wondered about because what they're saying is not enough research has been done that would prove that it's safe. I guess my question would be, has enough research been done to prove that it is unsafe? And I believe in some cases we've seen examples where social media can be horrific for vulnerable children. But that part, to me, confused me just a little bit. How much investigating have they done into this?
Well, this is a 19-page report that he's laying out here, and basically has said that social media poses a profound risk, those are his words, to the mental health of kids. He is calling on lawmakers, tech companies, parents to safeguard against this. He is mainly kind of referencing here some of the critical brain development that happens in adolescence, and he talks about how social media can affect things like behavior and emotional regulation and impulse control. There are a lot of facts and figures, stats in this report. Some of the big ones I want to point out are it says about 95% of teens age 13 to 17 and 40% of 8 to 12-year-olds are on social media to start with. Those that spend more than 3 hours a day on it are twice as likely to suffer from depression and anxiety. More than a third of those who are 13 to 17 report using social media almost constantly. That's a quote from the report. There's a lot of information in here. Another big stat that jumped out at me, 1/3 or more of girls ages 11 to 15 say they feel addicted to certain platforms. This information should not be surprising for anybody who's halfway been paying attention to how things have been going. If you will recall, in 2021, Frances Haugen was the whistleblower and testified before Congress that a lot of us were just she had our full attention when she was talking to Congress about what Facebook was doing at the time. She was talking about how they've done research. They did it years ago. They studied the effects of Instagram on teens' mental health years ago.
Right.
They found that peer pressure generated basically from the app led to mental health and body image problems. In some cases, eating disorders, suicidal thoughts in all teens, especially in girls. She talked about this at length during her testimony. So again, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of been, has come out about this in recent years, but it's actually a serious problem. And the Surgeon General has kind of outlined several things that not only should really get parents' attention, but also lawmakers' attention. Some of lawmakers are trying to craft legislation around this. The Surgeon General actually lays out some things that can be done to make it safer and, as this report puts it, safer and healthier for youth. One of those is for policymakers to do something. That's part of the group that he's calling for action from.
How do you? I wonder, how does one legislate something like this? You would hope that we have parents who are responsible, and I don't know. I remember it wasn't that long ago where your kid couldn't be on Facebook. No, you can't be on Facebook till you're such and such an age, or whatever platform is out there. just because of the dangers of people with of bad actors, and so this is really an example of parents who are not paying attention to their kids' time on social media.
I mean, it's pretty easy to get around.
That's true.
You ask anybody with a Gen Z kid who,
right.
how easy is it to get on Facebook? It's real easy.
Yeah.
All they have to do is, easily get around that. There's plenty of different ways. Which Facebook has been like, well, look, we put this age limit in place, and I can't help what your kids do it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing is, parents cannot look over their kids' shoulders 24 hours a day.
Right.
It is just not possible.
Yep.
It's just not. And, they could put restrictions on screen time. Obviously, that is one of the things that the Surgeon General, mentions about, having tech-free zones. He also mentions the direct correlation between social media and, a lot of these teens say they're on it past midnight or later. Sleep to help. He talks about the detriment to sleep. And the disruption, all different things that are tying into that and obviously affect their, performance in school or whatever the next day, and just them in general. They need a lot of sleep. He kind of draws those parallels and says, this is affecting more than just the mental health. It's affecting the things that adolescents, that critical brain development he talked about.
Well, you can. I'm assuming it takes work, but maybe you have your charging station that is downstairs in a room as opposed to taking the phone to the bedroom. And but there is. I need the phone for homework, or I need the internet for homework. I mean, there's so many different things that we use these devices for. You're right. It's become more complicated for parents to be able to figure out how to keep track of everything. But it's no doubt an issue. But really, Tanya, it's not just kids, although their minds are developing. I think there are plenty of adults that are probably addicted to TikTok and formats like that.
Speaking of addictions and adults, look, every time I buy a pack of cigarettes, it comes with a warning that says Surgeon General says this can cause cancer and keep away from pregnant women, etc. What if this wouldn't happen, but I guess this is kind of an out-of-the-box idea. You made it such an annoyance that every time you clicked on a page or before you watched a video, instead of getting an ad, you got a warning from the Surgeon General about how harmful this could be to your teenager's health. I think fewer people would spend hours and hours just scrolling it because you'd get a warning every time you went to another video or you went to another screen.
Well, luckily, Tanya, we're going to have artificial intelligence patrolling the web for us soon, and they'll be taking care of everything. So.
What could go wrong there? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I can't wait to expand my family with AI children.
Yes. Tanya J. Powers, as always, thank you. It gives us a lot to think about. We appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you.
Tanya Powers from Fox News.
You could program your AI child to go to bed on time. How many restrictions you could have on social media. What type of diet to have. Make sure they're getting their fruits and vegetables.
Nagel, Gen Xer here. Social media did to our parents what they thought video games would do to us. Bunch of dummies. I do wonder how much, because you heard this sort of thing, video games are destroying our children. The Simpsons are destroying our children. Television is destroying our children. Music is destroying our children. I think that anything is probably tolerable with some moderation. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Elvis the Pelvis is destroying our children. I mean, where does it end? And are we finally reaching something that really does destroy our children? I don't know.
And you talk about an addiction, though. I mean, we see this with food or sugar or whatever, about the obesity epidemic that we have today.
Donna this morning, we need a good lawyer to step up and file lawsuits for each tenant evicted for a large amount of money each. Make that owner lose what they would be earning. I do agree. Julie, an injunction came down yesterday blocking housing of migrants at that Syracuse hotel. It is a temporary injunction, but that was what was filed by Onondaga County on Monday night. Hey, Liberal Lou, Trump had the border secure. Dems want an open border and now have a crisis. Americans are now paying for this mistake. Dems are scum. Thanks, Rob, for that opinion. The fact is that you have, I'm not sure what the owner of that hotel, the corporation that owns that hotel, I'm not sure if they're a Democrat or a Republican, but there's the scum you're looking at.
Yeah.
Somebody that is willing to just boot people out on the street so that you can bring in new people
Who pay more.
It has nothing to do with being sympathetic to migrants at all. This is being sympathetic to your bottom line. Hey,
Supply and demand, capitalism,
that's
right
exactly it. Here's a chance for us to make some money. Northern California Library book is finally back into the rightful place after being overdue for nearly 100 years.
Who cares?
It's a copy of A History of the United States by Benson Lawson. Here's the library's director, Chris Crichton, talking about getting the book back after all of these years. Oh, and that's not going to play. Can't even do it. Can't even try to do it. But I'll break and we'll come back and I will play that stuff. But nonetheless, 100 years. It's a long time.
I'm kind of interested to see the information obtained in this book. This is a 100-year-old history book called, what, The History of America? Something like that?
It is. That's exactly what it is.
So, I mean, the way, I don't know, I don't want to get into a political thing, but the way history is taught today, or the way we look back at our history today, I'm sure is quite different.
It would be interesting
today.
to see the differences in philosophy, I guess.
Yes, and how,
then again,
history is presented, if you will.
Then versus today. Fair enough. John is in Bridgewater. Before I break, hi, John. Good morning.
Hey, Bill, real quick. How you doing?
Good. How you doing,
John?
man?
It's been a long time, man. Hey, did you hear about the Flying Dog Brewery that's coming to the brewery?
Yeah, we did a story on that the other night. That's a great story.
Oh, okay.
It is. So that brewery is very interesting because they're all about free speech, and they have some very colorful labels and names of the beers that they produce. And in fact, there was one state that went after them and said, this might have been the Raging Bitch, is I think what the name of the beer was. That might not be it, but I'm thinking it was it. But the state tried to stop them from selling the beer because of the indecent name, and they ended up winning. And I think they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, but they won the case, and they were allowed. And actually, they won a pretty large settlement from the state after being shut down. So, so the story is the FX Mad Brewery, which has worked with this brewery out in Maryland for several years, has purchased it, and Manaski's looking at some of the labels right now.
You were correct on one particular beer name. That is what it was called.
Yeah.
I've got
There's a
Snake
couple of
Dog,
others there that
Bloodline Blood.
That have,
there's a doggy style.
I wanted to mention something else. That wasn't the main thing, but last week, these homeless, these immigrants that are coming in, well, there were 20 veterans. It was in a hotel in Orange County, and one of them was a 24-year-old vet that just got back from Afghanistan. They all got the boot because they had to put in these illegal.
Yeah, I thought that story, though, was vetted and was not. I read that it was not true.
It's in the paper again. I don't know. Well, maybe it's not true then.
Well, I'll tell you the story that
right
the story that
get the boot.
The story that we had this morning out of Syracuse is absolutely true, and it could be the same hotel. Could be the same hotel chain. Or the same corporate owners that are booting people out of the hotel in Salina out near Syracuse.
Well, the federal government is paying big bucks, apparently.
Actually, it's not the federal government. It's New York City is paying.
Oh, well, where does the federal money come? Don't they pay anything for the
all I
illegals?
can tell you is, John, Syracuse is being paid, or this hotel chain is being paid by the mayor's office in Syracuse, or in New York City.
Yeah.
That's where the money is. That's where the money's coming from.
All right, well,
but it doesn't make it any better, right? This is terrible. What's going on?
Man.
So,
well, all I can say is I don't think they'll make their way to Bridgewater. I hope.
Actually, they're going to build a hotel right next to your house.
That's good because everybody has the right to bear arms and protect their property and family.
All right.
So,
there you go.
Goodbye.
All right.
Thanks. All right. Yep.
I don't know why John's pissed off at me over the migrant situation. I don't understand that. Like, I brought them up here. I'm funding them. I don't know where you're coming from, John. I don't get that. But, lighten up, man, just a little bit. And trust me, you should be protecting your property. I would expect nothing less from John.
I wasn't sensing John was frustrated with you.
I was.
Okay.
I don't understand that, but I was. I do have to break, though. Hold tight. First news, Keeler in the morning. It is a Wednesday morning. Next hour, another controversy that we'll be dealing with, and that is what happened to the superintendent of schools in Utica. The acting superintendent has stepped down. We'll speak with Board President Joe Habaika coming up. The official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. They're up very, very early in the morning, making sure the donuts and the bagels are fresh and delicious. All of it is made on the spot, and that drive-through is so fast. You're in, you're out, you're on your way. You could bring a box of coffee to work for everybody in the office. Coffee, espressos, lattes, iced coffee. It's Daylight Donuts in the village of New Hartford.
I can't take this kitchen any longer. Carl, we need to start looking for a new house.
Honey, you know the housing market is tight. It's going to be next to impossible to find something that we like.
I know, but this kitchen has to go.
Hey, what about a home equity loan from Adirondack Bank? We can turn the equity from our home into cash to renovate, just the way you want.
Renovate?
Adirondack Bank has competitive rates, and they've been a trusted community bank for decades.
A new kitchen. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Then, of course, we would need new furniture, and we could repair the deck, even add a pool, and take that trip to Italy that we've always talked about.
Whoa, slow down, honey. Let's go talk to the experts at Adirondack Bank about that home equity loan. Then we can decide where to start.
I've always wanted to add on a craft room, and our bathroom needs a facelift.
Don't move. Improve. Stop into your local Adirondack Bank branch for more information on a home equity loan or visit AdirondackBank.com. Bank local with Adirondack Bank, your hometown community bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
At SimpliSafe, we design award-winning security to protect every inch of your home. It's easy to set up yourself, and now there's an even easier option. Have an expert do it for you with SimpliSafe Pro Install. Always protecting, never a contract. 2 easy installation options, backed by 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 1 year since an elementary school massacre. 19 students, 2 teachers killed.
We can't even imagine the pain that the families are feeling. 1 year, and we realize you still don't have the answers that you need.
Uvalde Mayor Don McLaughlin, as the investigation continues into the law enforcement response, the gunman was in a classroom for more than an hour until the 18-year-old was shot and killed.
Everybody that was there that day has to be held accountable.
In Nash, Texas, another 18-year-old is facing capital murder charges, arrested after a standoff at a house where police say they found 4 of his relatives dead inside. Another Republican is ready to run for president. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will announce his campaign today on Twitter.
Former President Trump's super PAC responding to the announcement. This is one of the most out-of-touch campaign launches in modern history. It was just 2 days ago, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott tossed his hat in the ring and has already raised $2 million since. That's on top of the $22 million cash on hand he entered the race with.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. Now, former President Trump remains the Republican frontrunner, but he faces a trial during the campaign. A judge in New York set a date for next March for the former president to go on trial, criminally charged with falsifying business records in what he calls part of a witch hunt. 8 days before we're warned the U.S. could default on our debt, Fox's Jared Halpern reports House Republicans who demand spending cuts be attached to any new borrowing keep trying to work out a deal with the White House.
Differences are wide. President Biden wants tax loopholes closed. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says revenue is not the problem.
Well, let me be very clear. We are not putting anything on the floor that doesn't spend less than we spent this year.
South Carolina is about to ban most abortions again. Republican Governor Henry McMaster says he'll sign a revised plan banning most abortions at about 6 weeks of pregnancy. South Carolina's Supreme Court struck down a prior similar ban earlier this year. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, I've told you about how Relief Factor helped me with my aches and pains. Let me tell you about Haven in Texas. Haven writes, I'm taking Relief Factor from my shoulder and lower back, and it works. No more pain. My husband started taking Relief Factor for his upper back and hip and didn't think it was working until he ran out and realized the pain was coming back. Relief Factor just works. We are so happy it's working for you and your husband like it does for thousands of others across America. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free solution developed by doctors to help your body attack the underlying inflammation causing pain. What activity would you like to be doing again? Your first step to becoming pain-free could just be to order the 3-week Quick Start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out more about this offer. That's 800-4RELIEF. Live your best life and feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Well, we're dealing with cloudy skies this morning and 57 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:03. This news update brought to you by My Carl's Memorial Day Sale. The biggest and best furniture deals ever. The showrooms are full of sofas, recliners, bedroom sets, dining sets, same-day pickup or delivery. Shop My Carl's in the New Hartford Shopping Center and Destiny USA. Well, a shakeup atop the leadership at the Utica City School District. An abrupt change coming last night as the acting superintendent resigned. WIBX 950 reached out to Brian Nolan regarding the news. However, he said he had no statement or comment at this time and instead directed us to current Utica School Board President Joseph Hobaika. Nolan took over the leadership post on an acting basis in October of last year when longtime Superintendent Bruce Karam was placed on administrative leave, among allegations of a hostile work environment, among other things. At Tuesday's school board meeting, Steve Falchi was named the district's interim superintendent. We will speak with Joe Hobaika coming up later this morning here on the Keeler Show. An Onondaga County judge issuing temporary orders involving the transfer of housing and migrants in the county. One order blocks the Candlewood Suite Syracuse Hotel in Salina from receiving and housing those individuals. And another order also says New York City is not allowed to send migrants to that hotel or anywhere else in the county. Hearings on lawsuits filed by Onondaga County and the town of Salina will happen in the coming days. The man arrested in connection with the murder of Kaylin Gillis is scheduled to be back in court today. Kevin Monahan is set to be arraigned on charges of murder, reckless endangerment, and also evidence tampering. The 65-year-old accused of shooting and killing 20-year-old Gillis while she was riding in a vehicle that accidentally ended up in the driveway of his home last month. Monahan is currently behind bars, being held without bail. Excelsior scholarship applications are open for new applicants ahead of the 2023-24 academic year. The scholarship allows students to attend SUNY or CUNY 2- or 4-year schools tuition-free. Students who come from homes with federally adjusted gross incomes of up to $125,000 are eligible to take part in the program. Applications are being accepted through August 31st. More information can be found online by visiting the State Higher Education Services Corporation website. And in case you missed it, we touched on it briefly, and not to steal your thunder in sports, but a Utica Little Leaguer threw a perfect game this week. And check out photos and a brief recap of the game on our website right now at WIBX950.com. Will the weather allow for more baseball today? Well, we'll see. Here's what we can expect this afternoon.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, mostly dry, some hazy sun early, then mostly cloudy. Breezy, colder afternoon, downpours and storms developing. Mild early, but temperatures fall into the 50s in the afternoon and evening. Tonight, partly cloudy to mainly clear, chilly, low 38. Tomorrow, some patchy frost early, mostly sunny, brisk, much cooler afternoon, high 63. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Partly cloudy and 58 at 7:06.
All right, I'm Devin Firpo, and I'm here with sports, and we're going to jump right into it with the Boston Celtics avoiding elimination with a statement win in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston defeated the Miami Heat 116-99 in the Casa Center to pick up its first win of the series. Jason Tatum erupted for 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists in the win. The Heat hold a 3-1 series lead, and the series shifts back to Boston for Game 5 on Thursday night. The winner of the East will take on the Western Conference champions, the Denver Nuggets, in the NBA Finals, which start on June 1st. The Golden Knights are one win away.
Sorry, go ahead. Which is crazy to me, because if the series were to end, let's say, tomorrow night, Thursday night, which would be the 25th, they're going to wait a full week before they start the finals. I hate when they predetermine the dates, because now you're in the heat of the basketball playoffs. Now you're going to go 7-8 days without a game before you start the finals.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Devin.
On to hockey. We have the Golden Knights, who are one win away from the Stanley Cup final. Vegas shut out the Stars 4-0 in Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals from Dallas. Jonathan Marchessault scored just 70 seconds into the game, while Ivan Barbashev and William Carrier also found the back of the net to cap off a 3-goal first period. Aiden Hill stopped all 34 shots he faced, as Vegas is now up 3-0 in the best-of-7 series. The Stars hope to avoid the sweep in Game 4 from Dallas on Thursday. The Hurricanes are also trying to avoid the Brooms. The Panthers have a chance to sweep Carolina in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals from the Sunrise tonight. For the Yankees, they came from behind to take on the Baltimore Orioles 6-5 in 10 innings. Michael King was credited with the victory after striking out 3 batters over 2 innings of relief. Aaron Judge tied the game in the bottom of the 9th with a solo home run before Inley Vlope drove in the game-winning run with a sac fly in the bottom of the 10th. Harrison Bader also went deep for the Bronx Bombers, who have won 5 straight now and are now third in the AL East at 30-20. Brian Baker was charged with the loss after allowing 1 unearned run in 2/3 of an inning. Cedric Mullins and Gunnar Henderson each slugged a solo shot for the Birds, who were second in the division at 31-17. The 3-game series continues tonight in the Bronx. And the Mets...
We lost. We can move on.
Yeah, it was a disastrous game.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The Mets were unable to extend their winning streak to 6 games after falling 7-2 to the Cubs in their series opener at Wrigley Field. Tyler McGill was charged with the loss after allowing 6 runs. 4 of them earned over 3 innings and 2/3 innings pitched. Pete Alonso drove in both New York's runs, including a solo home run for his 18th long ball of the season. The Mets are now second in the NL East at 25-24 and will continue the 3-game set tonight in Chicago. WIBX News, time is 7:09.
All right, so Pete Alonso is getting a little heat right now that Buck Showalter said it is not what he wants to see, and this will be the last time it happens. Pete Alonso was either in an interview or out on the field. He dropped an F-bomb, and apparently they are presenting him as the golden, a real golden boy.
Yeah.
Like a Derek Jeter or a Judge, and they don't want him. They don't want him swearing. So that became an issue in the Post today.
I mean,
well,
both of those players are incredibly classy.
Showalter's looking at it as if a lot of kids are watching, and he wants this guy to set the right example.
That's a fair point. Now, Buck, now that you've made your fair point,
now win.
We've acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Let's be a better than 500 team. Come on.
All right, John in Bridgewater. The story about the veterans. So here's what we have on the veterans being kicked out for the migrants. So was an Army vet who said that he was staying in a hotel. He was evicted and kicked out onto the street. And it was because they were moving migrants in. So here are the headlines that have come out within the last 24 hours. How a false story about migrants displacing homeless veterans went viral. Army vet, this is the Daily Beast, an Army veteran who told a fake migrant story has been stripped of honors. Fox News runs with fake story about migrants displacing veterans, et cetera, et cetera. This is from... Here's a headline. No evidence supporting claim that New York hotels kicked out veterans to make room for migrants. That came from Fox News. That is
they're back to reporting again.
That is a story that has been debunked.
Well, welcome back.
However, and this is why when I told Tanya about the story up in Syracuse, I think she kind of questioned it a bit, because there are a lot of these stories out there that are saying the same type of thing. The migrants are displacing people. But I'm telling you, based on investigative reporting from the Post-Standard in Syracuse, that is happening in Syracuse. Now, they're not necessarily veterans. They're just regular people. But the story that we have is that this hotel management company booted everybody to make room to bring in the migrants. So why would they do that? It's all about the money. They're being paid a lot of money, at least for 4 months, to house this busload of migrants coming up. So they just evicted everybody.
You know, in this particular case, and I don't know who owns the hotel chains, and I don't know who's coming up here or who's being booted, sometimes there might be something lost in translation, but the international language, of course, is money. And it sounds like everybody's got their hand out looking to make some money and cash in themselves on this particular situation.
Churchwick Partners is the name of the estate investment firm, that the real estate investment firm from New York City that owns that property up in Syracuse. So that is a true story, at least based on the investigative reporting they've done in Syracuse. So there you have it. Not good. Not good at all. All in the name, as you say, just a little bit of greed. Maybe a lot of it. Coming up, we'll get to Andrew Reed in our legal segment. We'll do it next, 7:13 at WIBX.
On behalf of IBEW Local 43 Union Electricians and the NECA Contractor, we are pleased to partner with Alfred State University in providing our members with an opportunity to enhance their education at this great university.
Alfred State is proud to strengthen our long history of working with unions to create non-traditional pathways for career advances in the skilled trades.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
Hey, it's your radio buddy Jimmy Fallon, and the last time I was up at WIBX with the Keeler Show, when I wasn't shutting down hecklers in the comedy club, I was learning all about Bill and Robin Monjo and their amazing philosophy of buying and selling homes at River Hills Properties. Folks, when you list your home with River Hills, you're getting an extra level of service it is not available with other agencies. And I, for one, can't imagine having people I don't know wandering through my home when I'm not there. It's bad enough I've got Lincoln throwing his keg parties when I'm on the road. But also, that's the way houses are sold up in Utica. But not with River Hills. Your River Hills listing agent is there every time your house is shown. They turn the lights on, they answer questions, and they make sure no one's going through your medicine cabinet. It happens. Trust me, I've done it to a few people. Not proud. But seriously, list your home with River Hills Properties and reduce your stress level. It's like having a personal assistant to oversee the sale of your home. So why wouldn't you list with River Hills? What the heck's wrong with you? If you're even thinking about selling your home, call my friends at River Hills Properties, serving Utica, Rome, the Valley, and the North Country. Call 315-896-1009. And remember, nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties. Tell them Jimmy Fallon told you to call.
A Mohawk Valley tradition returns on Friday, June 16th, when the WIBX Heart Radiothon goes live from Accelerate Sports. Doctors from radio sponsor Slocum Dixon Medical Group will share ways we can stay healthy. You'll hear from treadmill challengers as they face off against each other, and Red Cap ambassadors to America's greatest heart run and walk will remind us why we support the American Heart Association. Of course, there'll be special incentives to thank you for your donations. Be sure and tune in Friday, June 16th.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Keep counting at those stop signs, Alex. Full stop and doesn't go until she counts to 5, McSweeney. Because you are a safe driver. And like most drivers who sign up for Snapshot from Progressive, which customizes your rate for how and how much you drive, you could earn a discount for your good driving. So don't turn into an Alex rolling stop and goes whenever she wants, McSweeney. Because once an Alex full stop and doesn't go until she counts to 5, McSweeney, always an Alex full stop. Well, you know the rest. Sign up for Snapshot today.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in all states or from all agents.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
So every week we grab a legal expert. Just so happens to be Mr. Andrew Reed. And we look at some of the legal stories that are making headlines this week. And on the line right now is Andrew Reed. Good morning, Andrew. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back.
Tailor our own question about this topic we've been covering this morning here.
You mean so here's I guess I'll throw it at you this way. I know there's a story about the veteran that was evicted in order to make room for migrants. Turns out after that story was vetted, it's not true. However, there is a true story out of Syracuse where a busload of migrants was on the way up, and now there's an injunction preventing that from entering. We'll see if that stops it from happening. But a hotel management company out of New York City that owns the hotel, which is more of a long-term stay, they this week just evicted everybody and said, you're going to have to get out. They didn't give them a reason. Well, now we're finding out.
They didn't give them proper notice.
And they don't have proper notice. In many cases, they don't have anywhere to go. I would think that if you're living in a place longer than a month, that you would have certain rights when it comes to eviction. They just can't boot you to the street.
It's one I don't know in particular New York or New York City law, but there are some aspects there. It's one I do know when you're dealing with hotels and motels, there's a little bit different provisions in terms of what rules and notes they have to follow for telling you you've got to vacate your room.
Right.
But there's probably going to be a little bit different elements there versus, for example, somebody that's a renter of like a apartment, a townhome, something like that. So there will be some differences there. I'm not sure the peculiar differences that can make it unique to that situation, unfortunately.
Well, I'll tell you this. I have a lot of experience with it. Oftentimes, I'll be at a hotel, and you got the rest of the day to spend in New York City, and checkout is at 10, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. I thought it was at noon. And they're like, well, we're going to charge you now. I've had plenty of those. You know, you can actually go to the hotel and say, do you have a late checkout? And they'll say, why, yes, we do. It'll cost you $100. And then you're there till 3 o'clock. So you have a place to kind of come back.
It's $100. You can stay till
$100.
3. Or if somebody offers $200, you're out when they say so.
You're out the door, Andrew. Away you go. Okay. Hotels are really good, though. That once it gets past 12 noon, your key just doesn't work anymore. That's the way it works today. All right. Your topics. Let's go to number 1. Art or ad? A bitter battle over sweet treats. What is this one?
Yeah, so there's a town that had a donut shop or bakery that had an empty wall. So they had some local high school students come and paint a mural. Well, they painted a sunrise with some baked goods around it. Now the city is saying that was in fact a ad and a sign for the business, and it actually violates the regulations in that town because it's bigger than what's allowed. So now there's a big fight going on. And one of the unique twists here that was kind of interesting is that the city actually held a vote back in April, and unfortunately the bakery and the artist lost.
Wow.
So now they've gone to court. We will see where this goes. It's one, the bakery is raising First Amendment issues, saying, no, it's a piece of art. It's a mural. It's not meant to be an ad. So, but the city is saying, well, no, because you're a bakery and it includes baked goods, that's a ad. So therefore it falls under signage.
You know, I'm glad to see that things are so slow in Conway, New Hampshire, that they can tie up the courts with an issue like this. It is, and it's described in the story as a sleepy town, so that completely makes sense. I would rather be there dealing with these issues than what we're dealing with
migrants.
here.
No, we have to worry about this big commercial advertisement on the wall.
Topic 2: can police deploy robots with deadly force capabilities? If this is a story now, you know it's going to be a story in the future. I'm assuming it is a story right now, or maybe we're looking to the future. What do you have on this one, Andrew?
Yeah, so this really is more of a looking into the future. We've had a few instances where we've had robots used with force. One is located here in Texas, where I'm based, was in Dallas, when they had a situation where several police officers were fired upon. They were able to corner the suspect suspect was heavily armed, so they sent in a robot and unfortunately killed that gentleman. So there's a lot of questions of, well, could they have taken him in a way that maybe wouldn't have killed him? Could they have disabled him in the manner that they could have been able to find out what were the reasons that he fired on these police officers? Things of that nature. So that's one aspect of robot police officers. Another is if they use deadly force, how do you know that it was reasonable force? Because it raises another question of if you have a robot that's offset from other human officers, that robot, yes, if you lose the robot, you've lost money, but you haven't lost a human life. So does that really mean that a human life is in danger? And that's one of the questions when you deal with deadly force.
I see. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it seems like the argument has, and I think we saw this in the Herkimer situation.
I'm completely thinking about the Herkimer situation. A gunman shoots up a couple of locations in town, then ends up in an abandoned hotel. He's inside the hotel. He's held up there all day long. They, I believe, sent in a dog. The dog was shot and killed.
Correct.
But ultimately, wasn't there some sort of a robot that
There was a robotic device. And again, I think what we've always been told as the public is it allows us to see the suspect, see what they're armed with, what they're capable of, and are they still alive? Is it safe for officers to enter?
Correct. This
which
was
is
not
different
used that
than
way. Right.
Which was different than we're going to use a robot with a gun attached to it to go in there and start shooting.
Yeah, so that is very interesting. Like in New York, I believe we're a state where you have to be able to flee if you can flee. So if you can get out of the situation in New York, you're supposed to get out of the situation before you shoot and kill somebody. And if someone is not in danger, in the law, that's the way the law reads, there's a robot in there and not a human, then a human is not in danger. What's the result of this, or is there no result yet?
There really isn't any result yet. There's just a lot of questions being raised. And another one that will kind of come out of left field for some people is a lot of these robots have a risk of being hacked. So somebody, or having malware put on them. So if they're put in a certain situation, they could effectively go rogue.
We're already taking people out with robots in the form of drones, right? When a drone goes in and drops a bomb. Okay, this is an interesting one. Coke and Pepsi are getting sued for lying about recycling. What's this one?
Yeah, so there's a group, I believe the name was Earth First. So they have gone, they're taking the same type of model that other organizations used with the cigarette industry. They're saying that these companies, such as Pepsi and Coca-Cola, as you were mentioning, and others, have lied about the recyclability of their products and the containers for those products. So now they're saying they lied, and that has created a public harm due to how much plastic is building up in our landfills and elsewhere.
What do you think their chances are on this one?
This will be, I think, a little bit different than with the cigarette industry, because this one is a lot of people can actually see the results of this, because you can just go, if you're living near a landfill, you can basically drive up and see a lot of these plastic products that are sitting there. You go to look at any trash can, there's a ton of plastic products in the trash can. So there's a question of, could those products be recycled? And so I'm not necessarily sure they're going to win. I think there's going to be more of a push to get more products actually into recycling centers than in our trash dumps.
Yeah, right.
And there's a lot of companies out there that are actually moving towards that and doing things effectively.
Sure. Well, I have to say, if you're in New York, it's kind of funny when we would go to South Carolina, Myrtle Beach.
Completely
so
agree.
In New York, we recycle. But then you go to a hotel in Myrtle Beach, and there's no recycling going on.
Right.
Just like you throw that stuff out. But then on top of all of this, Andrew, there is the story that we're so overwhelmed with recycling that a lot of the stuff, even if you're recycling it, gets thrown away anyway. That's pretty sad, considering how far we go in this state to separate your trash from recyclables. So interesting. Okay, Andrew, all good stuff. We always appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Glad to be on.
Have a great week. Thank you.
So,
great weekend, a holiday weekend.
That was Andrew Reed, and Andrew Derminio messaged in regarding the robot cops, if you will, to say robots may work for school shooting situations or other mass shootings.
Right now, I don't believe we're going in and we have robots that are going in and killing people. But as you said, they go in and they give police officers a bird's eye view in some cases and give you a visual that they might not have without that device going in. But I guess in the future, it's going to be like RoboCop, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And then the story on the soda here, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, facing the lawsuit. I guess I don't know what the answer is to this, but
so if they're making bottles, plastic bottles that are recyclable, then I would think that would be not a false narrative. That it is, the fact that people aren't recycling is not their fault.
Right, and the fact that if their products are so popular that there's just so many bottles and cans that it becomes difficult to recycle them all, I don't think is their fault. But I think we should all be doing more to prevent, throwing waste in the ocean and everything like that. The other thing is, you talked about the difference between New York and with South Carolina.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I asked the woman, where do we recycle? Where do we put recyclables? In the garbage.
Yeah. So I just saw a video online where it was. You'll see the two trash receptacles or the two receptacles next to each other, and one says like plastic and the other one says garbage, and one's for recycling. And the person walked up and they lifted the lid, and they weren't separate bins. It was one bin, and the recyclable and the trash all fed into the same bag.
The same thing, yeah. Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of that, right?
Unfortunately,
and then
yes.
You'll go to some places that are so green that you'll stand there looking at the receptacles like, I don't know where I should put my stuff here. Which is which? There's like three different containers where, depending on what you have, it takes you a long time to figure all that out.
And I would imagine at some point here, I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. There's going to be a third receptacle that's for, do you have any food? Do you have half a piece of pizza, bread from your sandwich? Throw it in here. It's our composter.
Yeah.
And it's going to smell terrible, and there's going to be flies all around it.
All I want is a straw that doesn't go limp. That's what I want. And apparently we have not been able to invent that, and they're banning them in New York State. The good old-fashioned plastic straws. It's a Utica thing. Kitchen and Bar is open every day this week into the weekend. Great food. If you've not been, you got to check it out. Full bar, and it's that time of year, graduation time, wedding parties, all of that. You're having a shower or a Jack and Jill party, whatever you're having. It's a Utica thing. Kitchen and Bar can cater your event. Reach out to them today at 315-738-8946. All the traditional foods that you'll have at any party, and then all the extra stuff as well. You won't find better food. It's a Utica thing. Now open. The restaurant is open with a full bar, a dinner menu that you will love. Everything from pasta to steaks and seafood. Deliciousness along with a full bar. It's a Utica thing. Kitchen and Bar located at 350 Leland Ave, Utica, inside the Big Lots Plaza.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply is excited to announce the return of the 22nd annual Adirondack Paddle Fest. After a 3-year hiatus, this highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, Saturday and Sunday, June 3rd and 4th. Show hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday and 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. on Sunday. There will be over 3 dozen top manufacturers and more than 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from leading manufacturers, as well as has hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives and designers will be on hand to help you decide what's best for your paddling needs. The wait is over. The Adirondack Paddle Fest is back. Join us Riverside, June 3rd and 4th at Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company. Come kick off summer at the Adirondack Paddle Fest. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for all your local outdoor needs.
Are you ready to make the most important decision for your child's future? Some are easy, some are not. Some make all the difference, like choosing Notre Dame schools. Offering grades pre-K through 12, your child will be ready to learn and thrive in a challenging atmosphere surrounded by great teachers and the most current technology. Notre Dame offers small class sizes, high academic standards, and spiritual fulfillment. At Notre Dame, we foster an environment of diversity and community. Students feel supported and more confident in achieving their goals. Our students learn from each other and are challenged to grow and develop their innate talents. Notre Dame is faith-based, but everyone is welcome. If you have higher expectations for your child, Notre Dame offers a higher level experience. If you're ready to launch your child's future into the most successful career path and build the next generation of leaders, call today for a tour or visit NotreDameUtica.org. Notre Dame schools ready to learn, destined to lead.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer lasting scent.
On Thursday, June 1st, the Rome Capitol Theater presents the Linda Ronstadt Experience. The Linda Ronstadt Experience features 2016 American Idol finalist Tristan McIntosh with a 6-piece band. Singer-songwriter Sydney Irving opens the show at 7:30. The Linda Ronstadt Experience, Thursday, June 1st at the Rome Capitol Theater. Get your advance sale tickets today. Brought to you by Gunther Wealth Management.
Are you in the market for a vehicle that's like new but don't want to break the bank? Look no further than GM certified pre-owned vehicles at Steet Pawnee Chevrolet in Herkimer. With rates as low as 1.9% on select models, you can find new roads without the high price tag. Check out the 2022 Silverado Crew Cab 4x4 with only 3,000 miles, or the 2022 Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive with rates as low as 2.49%. And with a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty, you can drive with confidence knowing your vehicle is covered. So why wait? Visit us online anytime at SteetPawneeChevy.com to browse our complete inventory and take advantage of these amazing deals. This inventory won't last long. Steet Pawnee Chevrolet on Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steet Pawnee Chevrolet, your family-owned and operated dealership.
Hey, and Sarah's Flooring Outlet is the area's leading flooring store for flooring. If you're looking to buy a bike, if you're looking to buy a grill, do not go to Sarah's Flooring Outlet. They do not sell grills. They sell flooring. If you're looking for tile, if you're looking for hardwoods, if you're looking for Pergo Extreme, you're looking for Sarah's Flooring Outlet. They do not sell wood. They sell flooring. And wouldn't you go to a store for flooring that specializes in flooring? That's Sarah's Flooring. And Sal makes sure it is the largest inventory in all of Central New York. So not only do you have very deep inventory where you can go deep into different styles and different colors and different products, but they have everything you need if, and I say if, it's flooring, right? They specialize in flooring. So why wouldn't you go to the specialty store that specializes in what you're looking for? We did, and we had beautiful hardwoods installed in our home, and it was craftsmanship at its best. Sarah'sFlooringOutlet.com is the website. You can get 6 months interest-free financing right now. As you head into a holiday weekend, maybe it's time to say, we need new flooring. And the place to go is in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road, Marcy, and online 24/7 in sarahsflooringoutlet.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, Davey, let's do our Hobica free money question of the day. A chance for you. And by the way, Hobica's coming up in a second. We're going to get the word on what happened with the superintendent of schools, the acting super in Utica, as he's resigned. Davey, we're going for caller number what? What do you want to do?
But first, can I just say something quick?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
Go ahead. What?
I took advantage, my friend and I, Bob, took advantage of the 2 for $2 yesterday at Cookies.
Okay, that's 2 hot dogs for $2, 2 for 2.
On Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Not on Wednesdays or Fridays, on
That's right.
Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
It was awesome. How many did you get, Davey?
2.
2, okay.
Do you load them up? What do you put? What'd you put on the ketchup, mustard, relish?
I'm just a regular mustard dog.
Okay. All right. I like mustard as well. When I was in Rhode Island, in Providence, there's a place called Onlyville, and they'll make, you buy a dozen. So you'd go in there, and for lunch, you'd buy a dozen hot dogs. And it all come on a little tray, and you'd sit there and eat a dozen hot dogs. And you'd mow them down.
For dinner, you buy Pepto-Bismol.
I don't know. All I know is delicious. But you get one with everything. They have every town, every city has their own style of what an everything hot dog is. So, but there they would make them on. The guys hold out their arms,
right?
And they lay them out on the arm. And I do believe the sweat from the arm plays a little bit of a role in the taste of the hot dog.
It's the salty sweet bun. It's
It
actually
must
a
be,
little
yeah.
It's a little sweat, is what it is.
Could be. Yeah.
When Jim and I go out for hot dogs, he always puts ketchup on it, which I don't understand. It's mustard is the good thing.
I would think.
Hot dog.
Yeah.
You're big on that, aren't you?
The more mustard on my hot dog, the better. And I like I like yellow French's mustard.
Bill is very particular about his mayonnaise, his brand of ketchup that he uses. And
Hellman's.
Yep.
Del Monte used to be my favorite, but you can't get it anymore. So, Heinz is the way to go. Although the ketchup they serve at what's it called? Up at the seafood place on the top of the building in downtown Utica.
Ocean Blue.
Ocean Blue. How I couldn't remember that. They have a ketchup there, like Sir something or other ketchup, that is really good. Andrew once stole me a bottle out of there. It was delicious.
He did. I was there.
Let's go with caller 4.
All right, fourth caller through the phone line.
Wait. Before you move on from the hot dogs.
315-736-0186. Fourth caller, Davey's going to take care of you right now, and we'll get you in. I've got a great question. We're going to give away Hobica's money before we have him on. Caller number 4.
100 beans. So, Vinny, who worked here, Vinny, was from the Albany area, and they have like their mini hot dogs are a big thing in Albany.
Yeah, I've had those before.
And he actually, made them. And again, because they're mini hot dogs, they're not like they're larger than the pigs in a blanket you buy, right? But
you get them in a package with a bunch of mini hot dogs.
Yeah, there's like 40 of them in there, 30 of them maybe, and he made them, and they come with little mini buns too, and then they have different sauces that you can put on them. But I just found it interesting that I wasn't familiar with them, and he's like, "This is," to him, what those hot dogs were what I look at Greens and Riggies. Like, what do you mean you don't know what chicken Riggies are?
Yeah, we're looking at it like it's a little. That's weird.
You never heard of this before?
Yeah.
And that's how they, looked at these mini style hot dogs. But again, when you eat them, they're minis, so you eat like 8 of them.
Yeah.
You eat 8 of them in a sitting, and like you're watching a baseball game. You might eat 20 of them by the time the game's over.
Everything is right. Each city, each territory, each region, they have their own thing.
He's like, "What do you mean you never heard of these?" Yeah, there's meat sauce you can put on them too. And I'd never heard of meat sauce before Stewart's, right?
Yeah,
But Stewart's does a meat sauce, and they're originally a capital district, right? Capital region.
Love trying the different types of foods and everything. I specifically, when you go to another city, I like to go to eat what it is that they like to eat, just to try something different. Okay. We ready to do this thing, David? Yes, we're going to do it. He's getting Hobica. And let's do Fred in Richfield Springs, who's waiting for us patiently. Hello, Fred. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
You ready to go, Fred?
give it a try.
All right. Okay. You guys okay? There haven't been any busloads of migrants showing up in Richfield Springs at Canandaigua Lake?
Not yet, no.
You got a busload coming into Baker's Beach? Nothing happening yet, huh?
Nothing yet.
All right. Okay, Fred, here we go. Here is your question for $100 from the Hobica Law Firm. Here's the question. This comedy duo, Cheech and Chong, you know they're 85. Cheech, I think, is 85 years old today.
Really?
This comedy duo, Cheech and Chong, they were born in what country? Ready, go.
I'll say the United States.
Yeah. Another guess.
Puerto Rico.
Right. I would think the tricky thing would be, I would think maybe Puerto Rico, maybe Mexico.
I think I know this.
Maybe, but the answer is
Canada?
Canada. Yeah, they're Canadian. I did not know that. I thought they were like Mexican or something. Yeah. Canada is the answer we were looking for, Fred. But listen, it's all good. We're going to give you the Utica All-in-One Food and Fun card. It'll get you 2 for 2 hot dogs on any Tuesday at Cookies Q and Creamery. But it's good at Aquavino in New Hartford, which is delicious. Babes, 72 Tavern and Grill, Taylor and the Cook, and the concession stands at Adirondack Bank Center or Nexus. All right?
All right. Thank you.
Fred, thanks, man. Stand by.
All right.
Davy's going to take care of you. And by the way, if you need catering for an upcoming party or graduation party, the Stoney, I shouldn't call him that. Mr. Stone.
Jeff Stone, yeah.
And the crew over there at The Odd can cater any party. You could have your party at The Odd or at Nexus if you'd like to for this graduation. They offer catering on your premises or theirs. They'll take care of you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Also, I just want to say,
72 Tavern and Grill is closed until the fall. It'll be closed for the summer.
and the next time that I meet somebody who has come to this country from Canada, I'm going to be addressing them as Cheech. Hey, Cheech. What's going on?
You can either call him Cheech, Chong, or Anne Murray. One of the three there. Here's Joe Hobica, and good morning, Joe. We did not give away your money here this morning.
Well, that's good because you've been giving it away.
It's been hopping out the door.
Over the past,
it kind of has been bopping out the door here.
Speaking of insensitive and inappropriate nicknames, I believe a failed candidate for school board nicknamed Mr. Hobica Alibaba. Am I wrong about that?
Going down that
no,
road.
I guess that's true, and it's got a nice ring to it, I think.
All right.
I think there's a song parody in that.
Maybe you should do one.
I do. I think it's got a ring. There's a ring there. Okay, Joe. All right, what happened yesterday? Word came out, and man, this traveled very, very quickly. People were scurrying around on this one. The word is that the current acting superintendent of schools at Utica School District has resigned effectively. Immediate resignation, and is done as of yesterday. Is that true? We believe it is. And what happened? What's the story?
It's true. We accepted his resignation at last night's meeting, and we appointed Steve Falchi as the new acting superintendent. Brian, was with us he was only supposed to be with us for 2 weeks, and ended up spending. I was trying to figure it out. I think it might be close to 8 months, but somewhere between 7 and 8 months with us. And I have to say that I think we all appreciated that he helped the district when it faced a challenging leadership dilemma. But yesterday he decided it was his last day and notified us, and we had to take action, and that's what we did.
What prompted this? Why last night? I'll tell you, I reached out to him and I said, what happened? Do you have a comment or a statement? He said, I have no comment. You can get a comment or a statement from Mr. Hobica. He seemed to indicate, I took it as there was some type of a dispute that prompted the decision to come yesterday.
No, there was no dispute. He didn't share a reason. He just texted the board and said that he was resigning effective immediately, and that was the day he chose to do it, and that was it. Again, he built a great team. We have a lot of really good people working for the district, and we expect things to continue in the same direction and in the same vein and mode that operated under Mr. Nolan. So that's all I can really explain. I mean, I think he created an environment where a lot of positive, actions took place, and we expect that will continue. The board was, at least the majority of the board was very supportive of the selections of the people that he had made for various posts. The majority of the board was very happy with the table of organization that he created, and I think that it was evident in the performances in the schools. The principals were allowed to run the schools as they saw fit, based on their knowledge of education, their knowledge of the teachers, the students, and the parents. And we expect that to continue, and insist that it continue under Mr. Fauci or any other successor, until it's such time that the situation with Mr. Karam gets resolved.
Did you speak to him yesterday?
Did I speak to him?
I'm sorry. Did you speak to Mr. Nolan yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and he didn't say there was. He just said he just texted the board and said, "Hey, that's it. It's my last day. I'm out of here." Suddenly, abruptly, there was no reason.
Exactly.
Does that strike you as odd? Did that catch you off guard?
I don't. I think that there was a lot of pressure on him. So and I think that he had a lot going on. Obviously, he was retired before. So, I think yesterday he decided that it was his last day, and that was it.
And it wasn't brought on by an incident, an issue, a conversation, a dispute over something. It just totally came out of nowhere, it seemed.
Yeah, it did.
So, how did you? Are you through with your?
I'm still processing, but go right ahead.
Okay.
It just shocked me when I heard it.
I feel like there's a light bulb hanging from a string, and the room is dark. And
well, no, it just completely caught me off guard. And when I asked him for a statement or comment, he said, "I have none. Ask Mr. Hobaika." It just seemed very flippant, if you will.
Okay. You want to comment on that, Joe?
I didn't participate in Jeff's conversation.
No, he didn't.
I don't know if I would have had the same reaction to it.
Okay. How did you get to picking Mr. Fauci? So,
anytime there's going to be a lapse in leadership of the district, you have to contact the district superintendent of BOCES. We held a discussion. A recommendation was made. Obviously, when you're acting, it's different because you're not there for any set period of time. So, at least for the short or the near future, Mr. Fauci will be in there, doing what needs to be done, and then ultimately there'll be, there may be, some, I guess, search for, an interim or another acting at some point. But obviously you have to keep things stable, and he worked under Mr. Nolan for the last 7 months, and I think that he saw a different style of leadership, and we are expecting that he will mimic that style of leadership rather than perhaps other styles of leadership that he may have been exposed to in the 32 years that he was, with the district.
I have somebody asking what's the status of hiring a new superintendent, but you really can't act on that yet, right?
Oh, we cannot act on any of that. We're still in the midst of the circumstances with Mr. Karam.
All right. Speaking with Board President Joe Habaika, I wanted to just read. I've got a lot of comments here, but I wanted to read one. This is from Rob. Typical lawyer speak. That's all he said. I don't know what he's referring to. I have no idea what he's referring to there. Joe, there are some that would say, and I heard a little these rumblings that Mr. Fauci was a part of the administration under Mr. Karam, and that there are some people that are worried that this will be going back to the same old type of style that was prior to Mr. Nolan. How would you respond to that?
I don't think that style will ever be revisited in our district.
Okay.
Just to give an idea, and Joe, I appreciate you coming on the show, and I always appreciate any time that you're on the show. Here's the text message, and I'll just kind of recap, and I don't know, Bill, you can make what you may. Hello, Mr. Nolan. Jeff from the Keeler Show. I'm hearing that you have resigned. Is that correct? Also, can we get you on the show tomorrow? Correct. Joe Habaika has all the answers. I said, okay. Is there a statement of any kind that's been released? He said, I don't know. I said, may I call you on the telephone? I have resigned and I have no comments. That just struck me as and Joe, I wasn't trying to give you a hard time. I was just
You're not giving me a hard time.
Okay.
I mean, that doesn't seem flippant to me. That seems like somebody that doesn't want to talk about it.
I would ask you if there was something that happened legally, it would be considered an employer-employee issue. How much would you legally be able to say? Would you be limited in what you could say if something had happened?
Obviously, any employee-employer relationship, you're limited, but he decided yesterday was his last day. So we're we're moving forward. Obviously, he's laid out a great framework that's been, that's met with quite a bit of success. The board has been very supportive of that framework, and, we've been very pleased with the hires and the people in their roles and the performances of the people. So there's been a lot of upheaval in the last year. I shouldn't say the last year, but in the last 8-9 months.
Yeah.
He was a very steady hand from the first day that he got there. He was really only going to be there for a couple of weeks. That's what everybody thought. He ended up being there longer. He decided yesterday was his last day, and, we have to move forward. So that's what we're doing.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you anything further.
I'll just read a comment from Lance and Lee, and I want to do it with Joe on the phone so he can react to it if he thinks it's appropriate. Lance says, it's clear Habaika or his policies have something to do with this resignation. I believe Nolan may have had a clause in his contract to prevent him from being open on the resignation. Odd how it came after the election also. That's just a comment that came through. Joe, would you like to react to that?
I don't believe that there's anything in his contract. I just think that, he decided yesterday was his last day, and we reacted to him deciding that yesterday was his last day.
I understand.
And it wasn't odd that it happened. I mean, yes, it did. Did it happen? I think it was coincidence. It had nothing to do with anything else.
Okay.
Nothing to do with the election.
It had nothing to do with the election.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And you plow forward. This is people will think that, the school year is coming to an end. We're almost.
The district isn't going to fall apart.
Well, Yeah,
You
just
know,
let me.
We've
but-
made a lot of positive decisions as a board in the face of absolute, difficulty. And, Mr. Nolan did a good job, steering the ship. And we expect to fulfill all of the things that have been, started under his time with the district. Now we have to finish those things.
Where I was going is that as teachers and staff will have the summer. It does not happen in the administrative building. There's still much work to be done. So obviously, Mr. Fauci is going to be jumping right into the hot seat and getting everything ready for next school year. There's a lot to be done.
It's a good thing we have tremendous administrative staff, so we will not skip a beat.
Okay.
Just one more thing. Joe, you mentioned Mr. Fauci. I believe he was previously, and you might have already mentioned this, I was so befuddled earlier. He was previously, a principal at Proctor. Can you talk about his background a little bit again? And was he currently employed?
He was a teacher. He was an assistant principal. He was a principal at Proctor. He was an administrator in the prior administration. He's the director of I forgot what let me look. I got it right here. Hold on.
Talking to
the director of
Joe
I always forget what his
president.
title was because Mr. Nolan changed it. So he's the chief academic officer. So he's just stepping into the role as the acting superintendent. For the near future.
Is he the number 2 person in charge? Prior to.
I mean, we didn't have a deputy superintendent.
Okay.
But I guess in terms of longevity, in terms of, I guess on the academic side, for sure, he was the number 2.
And at this point, you have no idea how long this role is going to exist or be needed because the situation with Mr. Karam is continuing to play out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Joe. Manaski, I think good.
I'm just
saying.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate your time, as always.
Giving you the opportunity, that's all.
Sure.
Joe, I'm so sorry we didn't give away your money. I'll be sure to do it tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank
Thanks.
you. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Board president at Utica, Joe Habaika. Surprising news yesterday. Got a break. News is next.
Hi, this is Bill Cole from Gates Cole Insurance with exciting news. We are expanding with a couple of new offices in our area. One new location is North Country Estates Insurance in Lowville. They are another independent insurance agency that takes pride in making customers happy and fits our culture at Gates Cole perfectly. Here is William Schaub from the newest Gates Cole agency, North Country Estates Insurance in Lowville.
Working with us as an independent agent with this many companies, we will often call our clients and say, we're going to reduce your premium if you like. We have the companies that do well in New York and specifically this area. The coverages that we provide are commercial and personal insurance. That's the home, the auto, ATV, motorcycle. There's nothing more fun than taking care of a customer and being able to tell them that we're able to save them some money.
Proudly representing Finger Lakes Fire and Casualty Company of Trumansburg, New York. Gates Cole Insurance. We'll take care of you.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
They'll have a vigil tonight in Uvalde, Texas. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's been 1 year since an elementary school massacre.
We have not been able to move forward from that day because nothing has changed.
Berlinda Ariola's 10-year-old granddaughter, Amari, was among the 19 students killed, along with 2 teachers. Fox's Madeline Rivera is in Uvalde.
It took more than an hour before law enforcement officials breached the 4th grade classroom where the teenage gunman was holed up and killed him. But so far, Uvalde's district attorney has not filed criminal charges as its investigation continues. The families of Uvalde's victims have traveled to the state's capital in Austin and Washington, D.C. to push for gun reform.
An 18-year-old in Nash, Texas is due in court today, accused of murdering 4 of his relatives, found dead inside a home after he ended a standoff with police. Still no sign of any debt limit deal ahead of a possible default next week. House Republicans still trying to work out a compromise with President Biden, but Congressman Michael Burgess tells Fox Business,
bringing in tax increases now, to me, signals they don't quite know what they're doing.
The GOP rejects that while demanding spending cuts be attached to any new borrowing. But Democratic Congressman Adam Smith tells Fox
they have yet to specifically identify anything that they would cut.
There's another Republican runner on the road to the White House. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will announce his presidential campaign today in an event on Twitter with Chairman Elon Musk.
At the Wall Street Journal CEO Council Summit, Musk says people will hear what social media has not offered before with a White House hopeful.
With real-time questions and answers. Not scripted.
Musk says no one should look at the Twitter Spaces interview as an endorsement.
Fox's Gernal Scott, former President Trump, has been very critical of DeSantis, calling him unelectable. Remains the Republican frontrunner, though he faces a trial during the campaign next month in New York, where Trump's charged criminally with falsifying business records. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, I've told you about how Relief Factor helped me with my aches and pains. Let me tell you about Haven in Texas. Haven writes, I'm taking Relief Factor from my shoulder and lower back, and it works. No more pain. My husband started taking Relief Factor for his upper back and hip and didn't think it was working until he ran out and realized the pain was coming back. Relief Factor just works. We are so happy it's working for you and your husband like it does for thousands of others across America. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free solution developed by doctors to help your body attack the underlying inflammation causing pain. What activity would you like to be doing again? Your first step to becoming pain-free could just be to order the 3-week Quick Start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out more about this offer. That's 800-4RELIEF. Live your best life and feel the difference with Relief Factor.
We have mostly cloudy skies, 61 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:03. This news update is brought to you by My Carl's Memorial Day Sale. The biggest and best furniture deals ever. The showrooms are full of sofas, recliners, bedroom sets, dining sets, same-day pickup or delivery. Shop My Carl's in the New Hartford Shopping Center and Destiny USA. Well, we got a bit more information there in our top story this morning. An abrupt change in leadership at the Utica City School District as the acting superintendent, Brian Nolan, resigned last evening. Nolan had taken over the leadership post on an acting basis in October of last year when longtime school district superintendent Bruce Karam was placed on administrative leave. We just spoke with Utica School Board President Joe Hobaika, who said Mr. Nolan decided yesterday was his last day as the acting superintendent. Again, he had held that position for nearly 8 months. Now, Steve Falchi takes over as the interim superintendent. He most recently served as the district's chief academic officer. He was also previously a teacher, assistant principal, a principal at Proctor, and an administrator, I should say. Again, Nolan resigning from his position last night. At Tuesday's school board meeting, Steve Falchi was elevated to the role of interim superintendent. We just spoke with Joe Hobaika a few minutes ago, as you heard right here on the Keeler in the Morning show. An Onondaga County judge issuing a temporary order or temporary orders involving the transfer and housing of migrants in that county. One order blocks the Candlewood Suites Syracuse Hotel in Salina from receiving and housing such individuals. Another order also says New York City is not allowed to send migrants to that hotel or anywhere else in Onondaga County. Hearings on lawsuits filed by the county and the town of Salina are expected to happen in the coming days. The man arrested in connection with the murder of Kaylin Gillis is scheduled to be back in court today. Kevin Monahan is set to be arraigned on charges of murder, reckless endangerment, and also evidence tampering. The 65-year-old is accused of shooting and killing the 20-year-old Gillis while she was riding in a vehicle that accidentally wound up in his driveway last month. Monahan is currently behind bars, being held without bail. Excelsior scholarship applications are open for new applicants ahead of the 2023-24 school year. The scholarships allow students to attend SUNY and CUNY 2- and 4-year schools tuition-free. Students who come from homes with federally adjusted gross incomes of up to $125,000 are eligible to take part in the program. More information can be found online. Visit the State Higher Education Services Corporation website. And a Utica Little Leaguer accomplishing one of the rarest feats in all of baseball. A perfect game this week. Read more on that story on our website, WIBX950.com. And congratulations to Trenton Olmstead, who struck out 16 batters in his perfect game performance on Monday night. WIBX news time is 8:06. It's getting cloudy outside, and we are expecting some rain showers this afternoon. Here's more on what you can expect from the forecast.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, mostly dry, some hazy sun early, then mostly cloudy. Breezy, colder afternoon, downpours and storms developing. Mild early, but temperatures fall into the 50s in the afternoon and evening. Tonight, partly cloudy to mainly clear, chilly, low 38. Tomorrow, some patchy frost early, mostly sunny, brisk, much cooler afternoon, high 63. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Cloudy skies, 61 degrees at 8:07.
In sports, the Boston Celtics avoided elimination with a statement win in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston defeated the Miami Heat 116-99 in Kaseya Center to pick up its first win of the series. Jason Tatum erupted for 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists in the win. The Heat hold a 3-1 series lead as the series shifts back to Boston for Game 5 on Thursday night. The winner of the East will take on the Western Conference champion Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals, which will start on June 1st. The Golden Knights are 1 win away from the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas shut out the Stars 4-0 in Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals from Dallas. Jonathan Mastersault scored just 70 seconds into the game, while Ivan Barbashev and William Carrier also found the back of the net to cap off the 3-goal first period. The Panthers have a chance to sweep Carolina in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals from sunrise tonight. The Yankees from behind take down the Baltimore Orioles 6-5 in 10 innings. Michael King was credited with the victory after striking out 3 batters over 2 innings of relief. Aaron Judge tied the game in the bottom of the 9th with a solo home run before Anthony Volpe drove in the game-winning run with a sac fly in the bottom of the 10th. The Mets were unable to extend their winning streak to 6 games after falling 7-2 to the Cubs in their series opener at Wrigley Field. I'm Devin Furpo, and that's sports for WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
That goalie that you mentioned, Barbashev, is it the goalie or is he a player?
Barbashev is a player.
Okay. Didn't Wayne Newton do a song? Barbashev, darling, Barbashev.
Yeah, so close. So
no?
close.
Is that what it was?
No. But so close. So very close. All right, do you have Fred's information from Richfield Springs? Who played the contest? Do you have his? And Fred, if you're out there listening, please give us a call. The question that we asked him was improper. It was written wrong. What the question should have been is of Cheech and Chong. Where was Chong born?
Oh, it wasn't even Cheech, so I can't call the Canadians Cheech. I have to call him Chong.
So Chong, Thomas B. Kin Chong, of Cheech and Chong fame, was born in Canada. However, Cheech Marin was born in Los Angeles. So technically, it's a flawed question.
Okay.
Therefore, without even talking to Judge Hovaika, I think that we should just award him with the $100, right?
Yeah.
So, Fred, call in. We'll talk to you in a second. A flawed question. And you get the air horn after all of that. What else? I had a few other things to get into. Oh, I thought of this too. Like if we could, with this migrant situation, I don't think people are sympathetic enough with the people in Salina, in the Syracuse area, who are being evicted from this hotel. Jeff, I feel like they're like, oh, well, these people were, but these are people who lived there for maybe a year or 2 years. They've been told you got to get out because the corporation that owns the hotel was like, wait a minute, we can get paid much more by this the New York City mayor to bring up these migrants. So he booted these people. That really happened. You can check it out. It's a story in the Syracuse newspapers today. Now, what I've thought is we're not sympathetic enough. If we could add, there were also pets that were evicted.
You're absolutely right.
That changes everything. People are like, what? Whoa. Are you saying pets were kicked out onto the street?
I completely agree, man.
People will go nuts over it.
They'll say, Mrs. Such and Such got
Stop,
booted out.
Stop. There's a GoFundMe page. It's just started. It already has $10,000 in just minutes.
They don't care if Mrs. Such and Such got evicted. They care if Mrs. Such and Such and her dog Roxy got kicked out.
Yeah, poor Johnny died yesterday, but what happened to the dog? That's what people think about. I'm not saying all people, but there would be plenty. And these are feverish. These are people that are very, very intent on taking care of whatever happened there.
Also,
maybe people, their children, and pets were all evicted from that hotel in Syracuse.
And to the point you're talking about, I mean, just consider. I understand that I don't think that's an appropriate notice they were given as far as time.
Terrible.
But just
That's
imagine,
awful.
and I'm making these numbers up. I don't know what it costs to stay there a night or what they're being offered. But imagine you go to a hotel and just pick a number. I'll say $150. Say you paid $150. Someone knocks on your door at 3:30 in the morning and says, "Time to get out." What do you mean? I just paid $150 for this room. Yeah, but he's willing to pay $250.
One guy said, "You're right. That just it can't be legal." One guy had prepaid for the month, and he's like, "I've already paid. I'm here." And they're like, "No, you got to be out by tomorrow. We'll give you a refund." I mean, they wanted these. They must be being paid an awful lot by New York City in order to boot these people out. Or, it is a New York City company. Maybe they're doing a favor for the mayor there. I don't know. But and ultimately, now that there's an injunction, will there be an appeal to that injunction? These people still got to be feeling like, I'm not sure that I'm okay. I've been told I got to move out. Now maybe I don't have to move out. The confusion, what a mess. It'd be nice if somebody stepped in on behalf of those people in the Syracuse area. Just awful.
To your point, again, I don't have the date in front of me, but let's say from today they have 5 more days, right? And it'll take effect. Let's say June 1st, okay? And again, I don't know that, but I'm making that up. So before a decision is made, let's say it comes next Tuesday, which is what, the 30th or the 29th? So now they're like, we've got 5 days, so we're not going to pack up because, this doesn't sound like the right thing. We think the court will rule in our favor because that's the, quote, right thing to do. Well, if the court rules against them on Tuesday or Wednesday, now they've got a day to get everything out by June 1st.
I can't imagine that we would allow for such a thing. And keep in mind, we're talking about they all live within the state where for the last 3 years a landlord has been who was not being paid rent could not get the people to move out. And even if you are in a normal non-COVID situation, getting somebody to move out of your apartment and have them evicted is a long process. Now, this is a hotel situation, but it's long-term stay. So many of these people
That's their home.
Have lived there for over a year.
And I would say home. That's their residence right now.
That should be considered their residence. So it's a terrible story out of Syracuse. It is real. And in this case, you can't blame Republicans. You can't blame Democrats. You blame a greedy corporate owner who was trying to make more money than what they were making previously. And that's just terrible. Without any concern for the human beings that were living there. Terrible. All right, 8:14. Hold on, we'll come back. You might want to comment on any of this. 315-736-0186. Samantha Colosimo Testa.
She's only got a few minutes, and she's already going to be mad at me because we're running late.
She's livid over something. We'll find out what that is. Also, Ryan Nobles from NBC coming up at WIBX.
The Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida Counties is your community foundation. Together, we've invested $125 million in the community, thanks to people, families, and businesses that want to give back and build a brighter future. And you don't have to have big bucks to make a big difference. Join us as we invest in the future of our community. Learn more about your community foundation at foundationhoc.org.
I can't take this kitchen any longer. Carl, we need to start looking for a new house.
Honey, you know the housing market is tight. It's going to be next to impossible to find something that we like.
I know, but this kitchen has to go.
Hey, what about a home equity loan from Adirondack Bank? We can turn the equity from our home into cash to renovate, just the way you want.
Renovate?
Adirondack Bank has competitive rates, and they've been a trusted community bank for decades.
A new kitchen. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Then, of course, we would need new furniture, and we could repair the deck, even add a pool, and take that trip to Italy that we've always talked about.
Whoa, slow down, honey. Let's go talk to the experts at Adirondack Bank about that home equity loan. Then we can decide where to start.
I've always wanted to add on a craft room, and our bathroom needs a facelift.
Don't move. Improve. Stop into your local Adirondack Bank branch for more information on a home equity loan or visit AdirondackBank.com. Bank local with Adirondack Bank, your hometown community bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply is excited to announce the return of the 22nd annual Adirondack Paddle Fest. After a 3-year hiatus, this highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, Saturday and Sunday, June 3rd and 4th. Show hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday and 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. on Sunday. There will be over 3 dozen top manufacturers and more than 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from leading manufacturers, as well as hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives and designers will be on hand to help you decide what's best for your paddling needs. The wait is over. The Adirondack Paddle Fest is back. Join us Riverside, June 3rd and 4th at Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company. Come kick off summer at the Adirondack Paddle Fest. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for all your local outdoor needs.
Hey, yesterday I was at the Omni Surgical Center and with an appointment with my parents, and I could hear down the hallway there was someone saying, well, Bill Keeler said on the radio, I heard him say on the radio that you're able to take care of pain. And meanwhile, we were just a couple of rooms down the hallway, and it's exactly what I said. At the Omni Surgery Center, they deal with pain, and if you're living with pain right now, you don't have to live with it. And what I like about Dr. Hyder and all the physicians there is for me, this is our personal experience. He's like a miracle worker and a strategist all at the same time. It's about finding ways to eliminate your pain. And in this world that we live in today with opioids and you're taking medicine and one pill makes for another problem, there's a side effect that you're dealing with. It just becomes so difficult and complicated. And at the end of the day, it doesn't get rid of your pain. There are procedures that will get rid of the pain. And that's what my dad has gone through with Dr. Hyder at the Omni Surgical Center, and what you could go through as well. You do not have to live with the pain. The website is killpain.com, killpain.com. It's where modern technology meets cutting-edge surgery. Located in the business park in Utica, and the surgery center is on French Road. Call today for an appointment, 315-765-8448. If you have neck or shoulder or back pain, don't live with the pain. There is an option out there, and some are non-surgical. Some are less invasive surgeries that are not even, they're more procedures that you walk out the door the very same day. And in some cases, and in many cases, the pain is gone when you walk out. It's like a miracle. It's the Omni Surgery Center with Dr. Hyder. Business Park and French Road in Utica. Check out the website, killpain.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All righty, it's 8:19, 8:20, and yeah, it's 8:20, sorry. And it's a Wednesday going into Memorial Day weekend. We're looking at cooler temperatures today and tomorrow, and then things warm back up for the weekend. And right now, next week, I don't know if you noticed, but next week looks like it's pretty darn warm, up into the 80s next week. It's always hot in the home of Samantha Colosimo Testa. She's always heated. Not really, but when she is, you're going to feel it.
Listen, it's just my tone.
It might be the tone. It might be the tone. Good morning, Samantha. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How's it going today?
Good. What is your What's your issue today? What's going on? What do we have?
The reason I asked Sam to come on was this was a few days ago. Sam, I thought you had a pretty epic rant here on Facebook about a particular mayoral candidate and kind of what's going on in the city. I think it was 5 days ago, 6 days ago. You talked about the current mayor, and I think you were focusing specifically on one of the candidates who was looking to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everything in general. I mean, when you look at this whole mayoral candidacy, I guess it's kind of infuriating, seeing the history of even, and I'll say it, Celeste's, background. I mean, she's been a radical. I mean, let's just call it what it is. For the past several years, I mean, even the endorsements that she receives, political action committees, so on and so forth. And that's been her background, and it's amazing to see how much one person has changed, knowing going into this mayoral election, that her views are totally different from when she first ran inside the city of Utica, and it's quite infuriating, that nobody has called her out on any of the issues.
In what way was she a radical? That's a pretty strong
I
word.
mean, come on, Jeff. I mean, I'm sorry, Bill.
Sorry.
Her agenda. I mean, she's supported sanctuary cities, so on and so forth. I mean, in her previous elections, and just to hear her on the radio, I think it was just on your show the other day, talking about her opposite view and what she actually believed in, and that's I don't know.
I felt that she came out, to be honest with you. Listen, we ask questions and you get answers, and it's up to the public, the voter, to perceive the answers that end up coming out, and to compute those answers and figure out how you will respond to those answers. But I felt that she was quite sympathetic to the migrant situation. If that's what you're talking about, that was one of the topics.
No, listen, and if you read my post, I mean, I guess it's a little more self-explanatory, I guess, from start to finish of where I guess my belief is, and I don't even care if Jeff wants to read it. You're more than welcome to. And I guess that would make a little more sense to what we're actually talking about. So.
All right, so, and again, this is I don't want to say it is a little lengthy. And again, this is posted on your Facebook page, so people can read the full comment here themselves. But let's see. They have a radical. Okay, let me skip past that. Bill asked about that. Just take a look at the campaign donations. Involved in the school board elections with no children, but somehow supports candidates who only are willing to push the same views and agenda as them. Stacking a board, but accused the last administration of doing the same. Supports women, but didn't call out candidates who have been arrested for beating women. Doesn't support issues in their own district that they caused, and somehow wants to be the savior and pretend to be the solution. And I think there's a comment here, and I think this is directed at Katie Aiello. We have other members on the council send their kids to another district outside of the city, but don't live in the same district as their children. That's some of it there. That's Katie Aiello. Her children go to a different school district.
Right, okay.
Right, but also involved in the Utica school board election. I mean, that doesn't bring a question to anybody. I mean, how are you involved in something that, to me, a school board election is extremely important. I mean, and I guess it's just in general, I guess, is my point to all this. It's like, doesn't that raise a question to some people? Like, what is your actual involvement inside the, certain things, such as, we'll say the school board and, election, for example. What is the point of being involved in that? Wouldn't you be more concerned about the district that your kids go to? I mean, I guess it's and again, this is just stating in general. Like, doesn't it raise a cause of concern to some people?
Well, it shouldn't. I mean, any council member is also a constituent in the city and a constituent of the school district.
Right, and I guess
so
my point is
their involvement.
How do you not? Listen, Bill. How do you not call out for a cause of concern in your own city that you're involved in? I mean, there's a ton of issues that are going on inside the city that I've seen people, more concerned about what's going on in the school board election. And that's fine. You're 110% correct. Yes, they should be concerned about what's going on inside the school district. But also, how do you sit there and say, the city's fine and dandy, and have more cause of concern for what's going on in the school district rather than what's going on inside
listen,
the city.
let's be
guess
fair.
is my point.
Sam, let's be fair. You've got a superintendent who we know what we know is there's an investigation by the FBI, the Northern District of New York, and the comptroller's office. I would say that if I were someone like you, I would have a keen interest in the school district right now.
And Nick, and listen, here's my concern. I've got more problems inside the city right now that nobody seems to be talking about. I've had a FOIL request in for sexual harassment claims inside the city. We've had our budget director. We've now had our human resource officer. We have nobody inside the city overseeing health care. We've spent millions of dollars in ARPA funding. No one overseeing that. I mean, and I guess everything is a cause for concern, and I'm not disputing that. But how do you sit there and say, I'm worried about what's going on inside the school district, but I'm not sitting here questioning what's going on inside the city that I represent?
Well, by no means am I trying to. Are you talking about Celeste Friend? Is that who you're targeting?
No, I'm talking about in general. Like I'm talking about, say, any candidate in general that's not bringing up any.
Well,
of these concerns.
It's easier for me if I could focus on one person at a time.
All right,
so
then we'll focus on Celeste.
Let's start with Celeste. I've felt like, I have to say, and I do believe that she is liberal. There's no doubt about that. And maybe she's toned that back a little bit for this. I'm not sure why, because she's in a Democratic primary, if she has. But my point is, she has made herself
100%
available to us. Any question that we ask, she answers. She comes in.
You're not even talking about issues that affect the city, I guess, is my problem. Like, you have boards now, even inside the city, such as the ethics committee, the planning board. I mean, people that haven't even taken the proper courses inside the city. You have appointments that are overdue. I mean, we just borrowed $10 million for, and part of it.
Well, you're throwing. Listen. Calm down, please. Listen to me.
I'm very calm right now.
You have. Trust me, I know that. I do know that. The point is, we wouldn't know all these things unless you bring them up and say, hey, one at a time. Why not ask about this question? Why not ask her this question? Why isn't something being done here?
To be fair, I have called Jeff and I've told him several things that have gone inside the city, and there's no doubt about that I haven't. And I guess that's what I was getting back to in the original post of what we were talking about is the fact that these issues have been brought up to a candidate in school board elections, but yet they're not concerned about what's going on inside the city. I mean, have you driven down some of the streets inside the city and seen the garbage and the filth that's been riddled?
Listen, I think there's a lot of...
Go look at the sex offender map and go see how many sex offenders that live inside the city. I mean, and again, these are issues that have not been brought up to candidates. And like I said, we'll talk about one specific candidate.
Can I ask you, well, you're throwing so much at me. What do you plan on? You're a council person. What do you plan on doing about sex offenders living in the city, and how would you prevent that?
Listen, what I would prevent is allowing the same repeated beat-up houses to not have nuisance abatement. I mean, go look inside the city and figure out who's living inside the houses and how nuisance abatement hasn't been a problem inside the city.
And then I would ask you, why are you not running for mayor?
Because I actually like my job teaching, to be honest with you.
All right.
And it's a very convenient schedule with my children, and I do enjoy it. And it's very hard to give up something that you like going to work every day and doing.
Understood. I get it completely, and that's perfectly fine. But you could be like Galimi and do both. I mean, what the heck?
Well, to be fair, I mean that's an election ploy too. I mean anybody that's running for mayor inside the city and is saying that they're not going to be a full-time mayor, that's another joke on top of it.
Here's the other thing that I would bring up to you. The other thing you brought up in your post was Hobica stacking the board.
No, I didn't. You're the one that said Hobica. I didn't say Hobica.
That was in reference to Celeste.
What I was saying in general.
So Celeste is stacking the board.
The last administration was accused of stacking a board, and again, and I guess my point is I guess in the end of it, what is wrong with getting people that you want elected into a position? And me and Jeff went back and forth on this issue. I guess.
And if I can just say, first of all, you're talking about a superintendent, much different than a board member running with a quote running mate, if you will, although they were not formally running mates. But I think that Hobica as opposed to some of the other candidates he could have been dealing with on that board, majority or no majority.
And I guess
certainly
that's,
would.
I guess that's my point.
I certainly
What's
would
the-
want to
what's
go to
the
the
problem?
normal person and not some of the craziness that was running.
Well, and I guess that's,
without being
that's
too
my
critical.
point. What is wrong with getting people that you want elected to a position if you think that person is right? And that's what I'm saying.
all
Everyone
right.
says,
So we're on the same side then.
the last election, they were trying to stack people. They were trying to, get a majority on the board when everybody's actually doing the same thing if that's what they think is the greater good. I guess my point is, why is it good for one and not the other? And that's
Well, it's
that's
not.
the
This is
whole
where we
point that I was
disagree.
getting across.
This is where
It's
we
something the
disagree.
superintendent should not be doing.
And using district
That's
resources allegedly
Correct.
was the issue. Not that
Stamps.
he said I'd like this person to get elected.
Having staff members fill out, put addresses on envelopes.
Listen,
I mean, this is
listen,
all wrong.
This is, and I'm not
true.
disagreeing with you guys at all. But that's what I'm saying in general. I mean, now you have, say, a mayoral candidate or somebody in the mayor's position that's, trying to get candidates so that they have a majority. I mean, look at the council, for instance. I mean, you have a majority now in the council. Why wouldn't the mayor try and push to? And obviously, he's not going to be there anymore. But we'll use Frank Miola for example. I mean, he's a majority leader.
Yeah, he's
the
going to try to
Democratic
get.
chairman.
He's going to try to
trying
keep his
get
majority.
Candidates. Now, and I guess that's my point. If Celeste Friend was such a great candidate, and that you see her at every mayor's press conference now, why wouldn't the Democrat majority support her? I mean, and I guess that's my point. Like, what is I don't know.
I don't know your
everything that-
point.
it's-
I am
it's very-
completely lost on your point. I don't.
I guess I am too, and there's just so many points to try and prove.
Yeah,
that
you got.
one thing is,
You're like. It's like 1,000 points
guess
of light. I'm
I guess
completely confused.
10 years of built-up anger and the frustration that's gone inside the city. I guess what in one Facebook post, and it's just again in general. Like I wish we would go back to asking questions of what has happened inside the city in the past 10 years.
Let me ask
I mean,
you.
again, let's just look at the past year an example. You don't even have people in positions anymore. Who's running the city?
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this: are you worried that Celeste Friend is going to beat DeBrango in the primary?
I think that primaries are difficult in general. I mean, who
right.
comes out and votes in primaries? So I think every candidate should be worried from the Republican line to the Democratic
Mm-hmm.
line on who they think that their candidate's going to be. I mean, I guess that's the problem. I just wish that we start talking about what's going on inside the city instead of worrying about, and I'm like I said, it's just candidates in specific.
Well, I think a good example you've been involved in, to be honest with you. To me, this Complete Streets thing has been a complete distraction.
Oh, 110%, and that's what I mean. Like, what I've had 3 FOIL requests inside the city that haven't been answered, from financial disclosure reports to sexual harassment claims. I mean, how are these things getting ignored, but yet we're sitting here worrying about other issues? I mean, I've asked the question: can we please have somebody from the healthcare department, or I think it's American Financials, I can't remember off the top of my head, to come in and have this discussion? We've had Bowers Construction, who hasn't finished multiple properties inside the city. They've gotten away with it. They won't come speak to the council. So there's so many more issues going in and on inside the city.
Let's take it one issue at a time. Let's just take one issue. I don't want to go through the whole laundry list, but in terms of the FOIL, your next step would be to sue. You could sue for that.
Who am I suing? Like that's,
well, you'd have
that's
to
the
sue the
problem.
city. You'd have to sue if the city's not giving you the information. You'd have to
on my
file a
behalf,
lawsuit.
And without a majority on the council, I guess why is
That
the
wouldn't
council
matter
not asking
as
the
a
same
citizen.
questions?
As a citizen, you have the right to FOIL information, and if the FOIL doesn't come through, you then have the right to sue for that information.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm not disregarding that. But again, why am I the only person asking the question on the council?
Well, who cares?
And
You
that's,
just
and
sue.
that's part of the problem
If
that I
you
have
sue,
too.
if you sue, we can run with that story. That would
All right,
put
so
that
if-
story
if-
in
if
the
there's-
forefront.
If there's any lawyer listening to this that wants to do a pro bono case inside the city, so I don't have to waste my own personal money to get information
Okay.
from the city, I'll be more than willing to put a lawsuit against the city.
Okay. Well, let's see.
Do you want me to get a laundry list of things so you can start asking candidates.
You give
find
us the
out what's
laundry.
going on
Get one of those big Post-its that they sell. One of the really big Post-its, and you write it all down there, and
it fits on an easel.
We'll put it on the wall. Yeah,
we can walk down the lane down Genesee Street, discuss some of our issues.
We could do that. Yes, we could try to stay within the lines if we possibly can. All
Maybe
right.
I should stay in my lane.
Hey, you said that.
You
We
said
didn't
it.
say
I
that.
didn't say that, Sam. I did not say that.
Stay in your lane. I think that's
You're a
what-
council person. The
That's
city
kind
is your
of what
lane.
your post is saying about Celeste's friend. You're telling her to stay in her lane. That's really kind of what
Well,
you're saying.
and like I said before, I'm not saying that you shouldn't question the other issues that are going on, and obviously the school board and so on and so forth. But you should be asking those same questions in your own backyard, and those questions that I've asked and have been brought up for discussion need to be answered inside the city, because these problems are still going to be there no matter who's mayor. It come January 1st, 2024.
All right.
And that's the problem.
All right, Samantha, thank you for your
Sam.
time.
All right, guys, take care.
Good luck with the students today.
Thank you. All right.
All right. All right. Bye. Could you imagine a student arguing her grade with Samantha? Good luck. Your grade is your grade. Now shut up. Sit down. I'm sure she's a wonderful teacher. I got a break. Coming up, we'll talk to Brian Nobles from NBC. There's much to get to. This whole migrant issue is a big one. And, of course, debt ceiling is enormous right now. Democrats are now criticizing. You're in a good place when the Democrats are criticizing Biden. So you're probably at a point where maybe he and McCarthy are starting to get close, right?
Yeah.
And McCarthy's going to start getting criticized from the right wing of his party. So when you get there, you probably have a deal. You have some angry people, but you probably have a deal. Right now, at Steve Ponte Mazda, the Move to Mazda sales event is back. You can enjoy 2.9% APR financing up to 36 months. Ricky Z says, come in and try out a new 2023 Mazda CX-30, CX-5, or CX-50. Enjoy 0% APR financing up to 36 months on new 2023 Mazda CX-9s. Rick says, come in and let's make your deal on a new Mazda. Need a lower payment? He'll work with you on that as well. It's the Move to Mazda sales event from the dealership that's achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction. It's all about the way they treat people. Steve Ponte Mazda Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
We're here with Rob Hilton of Hilton Estate and Elder Law, our WIBX 950 and 106.9 Industry Ace. Now, Rob, what are the big three when it comes to basic estate planning?
So basic estate planning is comprised of the three main documents that you need. First is the will, next is the healthcare proxy, and last is the power of attorney. What most people don't know is how important of the three the power of attorney really is, because New York State has no simple method for you to act on another's behalf if they become incapacitated.
So you hear terms like power of attorney, healthcare proxy. You hear another one, it says probate. What does that mean?
Probate is the act of administering the will through the New York State court system. It requires a filing fee and other actions to be taken, as well as a petition to be filed. It is time-consuming and can be expensive. It can be avoided by using a living trust.
If any of our listeners have questions on any of this, how do they get a hold of you?
My number is 315-624-9600 or by email rkh@hiltonlawny.com.
If you need a tractor that's small but mighty, Clinton Tractor has what you're looking for. The New Holland Workmaster 25S subcompact tractor is economical with deluxe comfort, and the simple two-pedal operation makes it easy to mow, load, dig, and grade. And qualified buyers can get low-rate financing on a New Holland Workmaster 25S. See them for details or at clintontractor.net.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
Paid for by government.com. By texting 64,000, you agree to receive special offers from government. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required.
The 1920 to 1938 Buffalo Nickel, a true American classic and one of the most iconic coins in history. It's been more than 80 years since the last Buffalo Nickel coin was struck. But now, for a limited time only, full 1-pound bags of original U.S. government-struck Buffalo Nickels are being released to the public. That's right, you can own a full pound of 1920 to 1938 classic American Buffalo nickel coins, all in collector grade, with fully visible dates and mint marks guaranteed. Text COINS to 64,000 now. to secure a full pound of collector's grade U.S. Buffalo nickels struck during the Roaring '20s and the Great Depression. Plus, receive free shipping with every order. Text coins to 64,000 now to secure your full pound bag of Buffalo nickels before they're gone. Coins to 64,000. That's COINS to 64,000.
Hi, I'm Jill Hayes.
And I'm Scott Hayes from New York Sash, and I have 2 words for you: old and stubborn.
Excuse me? What are you trying to say, Scott?
No, not you, honey. I'm talking about windows. Old, stubborn windows. They're hard to open and close.
Oh, right. And they're really hard to clean.
If you're tired of fighting with your windows, visit our showroom and see the full line of New York Sash windows, all on display.
Give them a try. You'll be amazed at how easy they are to open and close, and they're super low maintenance.
Plus, our triple pane windows are energy efficient, so they'll help keep your heating and cooling costs down, and they'll make your home look incredible.
There's no need to invite a pushy salesperson into your home. Instead, stop by the New York Sash Idea and Design Center, where you can browse at your convenience.
Then, whenever you're ready, we'll come out and replace your old, stubborn windows.
We're open Monday through Saturday on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro. And as always, let our family take care of your family.
In the June primary, Rome Mayor Jackie Izzo was running to keep steady strategic leadership working for Rome. Like 6 years and counting with no tax increase, $70 million in grant funding, $325 million in public and private sector investment, plus dozens of economic development victories, all while maintaining an A-plus financial rating. Beginning with early voting on June 17th, vote for the only endorsed Republican candidate. Vote Mayor Jackie Izzo for Rome. Leadership that's working. Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
Hey, you know what I don't get? Why is that company always telling you to just do what? What is it? To just look like everybody else? Or maybe just pay way too much for your shoes? Well, at Skechers, we know what we want you to do. Just slip in. That's right, just slip in to new hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Why? Because slip-ins are the easiest, most comfortable shoes ever. You don't have to bend down to put them on. You don't even have to touch them. Find slip-ins for the whole family at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Those April showers could bring May hot tubs. It's about time you treat yourself to a luxurious new spa from Strong Spas. Visit their huge showroom and choose from over 100 spas in stock and priced to move fast. This summer, get ready to relax. You deserve a brand new spa from Strong Spas. Visit their ginormous showroom inside Sangertown Square, New Hartford. Special financing available for credit qualified buyers. Strong Spas. Experience the difference for yourself. Hurry, these spas won't last.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer lasting scent.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply is excited to announce the return of the 22nd annual Adirondack Paddle Fest. After a 3-year hiatus, this highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, Saturday and Sunday, June 3rd and 4th. Show hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday and 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. on Sunday. There will be over 3 dozen top manufacturers and more than 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from leading manufacturers, as well as hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives and designers will be on hand to help you decide what's best for your paddling needs. The wait is over. The Adirondack Paddle Fest is back. Join us Riverside, June 3rd and 4th at Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company. Come kick off summer at the Adirondack Paddle Fest. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for all your local outdoor needs.
Coming up, we'll speak with Ryan Nobles from NBC. And River Hills Properties is the fastest growing real estate company here in Central New York. If you're looking to sell your home, contact a listing agent at River Hills or give Bill or Robin a call at 315-896-1009. It's what we did when we sold our home. We wanted one thing. Every time the house was shown, we wanted to make sure that there was a listing agent there just to keep an eye on the property, keep an eye on things, and make sure that everything was being shown. If there were questions somebody had.
Wait, though. You had a nice house, but it wasn't that nice.
Well, listen, it was a palace. but it wasn't that nice of a palace.
But it was important to you.
We were told that's the whole thing. We were told that if you were getting like $500,000 for the house, we would offer that service, but not in this case. People's homes, you're right, it's important to them. It means a lot to them. And River Hills, every house gets that service and all of their services. Every sale gets that service. That's
Even
a
this
big
old
deal.
thing?
Even this old house. You've seen it on PBS. It's River Hills Properties. Reach out to them today. All of the services provided make them the fastest-growing real estate company here in Central New York. 315-896-1009. Remember, nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Here he is now from NBC, Ryan Nobles. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning. You've been all over.
Hey, Bill. Good morning.
You've
How
been
are you?
all over the TV lately. All over.
He's been everywhere, man.
There's a lot going on, but let's start because we have a few more minutes. As long as you're good, let's start with we go 5 in a row, and then yesterday occurs. So let's bounce back. You know, a loss here or there is not a problem, but we got to bounce back after yesterday's
Oh, we're talking
loss.
Mets now.
New York Mets.
Okay.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm not worried about yesterday. I'm worried if there's another loss today, and then if it turns into a sweep, and then everything they built back goes away. You have to be slightly more encouraged by Verlander and Scherzer. You got these kids who've got potential, but as much as I'm excited about the young guys. This, what the Mets leadership chose to do, and you can think it was a bad idea or a good idea, is they put the future, at least of this season, in the hands of two 40-plus guys who are both Hall of Famers, and we just have to find out if Father Time has decided he's going to be victorious here. So I think that's the whole season right there. And if they're great, the Mets will be okay. If they're not, they're in trouble.
I don't know if you're right, and meanwhile, Buck Showalter is worried about somebody swearing on the field, and I think that he should be right. Dropping the F-bomb is not cool necessarily, but at the same time, the New York Post is reporting Showalter might be on the hot seat right now.
I have to imagine he must be because you cannot have and this is. Walter, right? Look at every place he's been. Yeah. He comes in and injects a new level of energy with the club, and they play terrific, and then they get to a certain point, and then they just fizzle. He did that obviously with the Yankees. He did it in Baltimore, and I'm hoping that that's not the pattern that's going to repeat itself here. But I just don't see how a manager survives a season with the payroll that the Mets have, the highest payroll in baseball history, and play under 500 baseball. It's just not going to work. And, you can like or not like Buck, but there's no way he's the manager long term if they're playing under 500 baseball by the All-Star break.
Oh, I completely agree. Yeah. All right, can we talk the clickbait alert for the day? Just came from Fox News. Beatles bass player dead at 81. Oh, my God, McCartney has died. No, it's not McCartney. It is, but man, I clicked on it like, you got to be kidding me. Chaz Newby is dead. I
don't even know who that is.
He was an original bass player early on for the Beatles. He died at the age of 81.
He started with CCR, didn't he?
He might have. Paul McCartney is A-OK these days. All right. Is there so right now Democrats seem to be up a little uneasy, saying that Biden is giving up way too much here. I think that means maybe is a good sign. I would think that we're if McCarthy has a part of his party yelling at him and Biden has a part of his party yelling at him, it sounds like progress is being made.
I don't think that your assessment of that is necessarily incorrect. I do think that they're probably getting close. But what I fear could be kind of happening here is that I do think that Kevin McCarthy's winning the messaging war, it's kind of fascinating being in the halls of Congress because literally every time the Speaker of the House emerges, he sits and talks to reporters for 10, 15 minutes, which is not necessarily the way past speakers of the House have conducted themselves. So in that regard, he keeps getting a captive audience to give his side of this story every single time, where the White House's response has been to put out very short-worded statements and then just to kind of rely on the press secretary at the podium. And I think that there was a poll out yesterday that I thought was pretty shocking, and I think has to be of concern to the White House, and that is that 60% of Americans don't think that the debt ceiling should be raised without any sort of companion spending cut. Well, that's pretty remarkable, right? That's exactly what the Republicans are asking for. So I do think the Republicans are in a position of power here. They have the leverage in these negotiations. What could go wrong is that they may just sail a little bit too close to the sun and get a little bit too greedy. And if that happens, I don't think that Biden is just going to capitulate, and we could be in a situation where we get past the X date without any kind of resolution. Yeah. And then, that sets off a whole cascading series of events that could be bad or worse, depending on who you talk to. Yeah. So that's where things stand right now. The Republicans have the upper hand. The question is, do they know how to land the plane?
Yeah. Very interesting. And, that poll of the 60% of Americans, it'd be interesting to also ask them the question, okay, we should be cutting. Now, which of the services that you receive would you like cut?
Right. Not my program.
That is exactly right, Bill. You are so wise. If you broadly ask the average taxpayer, would you like to see the government spend less? They will more than likely tell you yes.
Yeah.
But then if you start to go down that list, well, do you want to cut defense spending? Well, we can't cut defense spending. Do you want to cut Social Security? No. Do you want to cut benefits for veterans? No. Do you want to cut benefits for the less fortunate, for children and the disabled? I think people would say no. So that's the problem, is that it is easy to talk about these cuts in a theoretical way, but to actually physically, slash these programs that people have come to rely on, that is a much, much more difficult proposition, and one that I don't think Republicans have completely wrestled with.
Speaking with Brian Nobles from NBC, Manaski.
I wonder if I completely agree with what both of you guys just said. That's an old thing that happens. Same thing where people hate Congress, but they love their local congressperson.
Well, they don't even love their local congressman anymore, but yes, yeah.
So my point being, though, one program I think that most people would say is not my program or funding they rely on is the funding that's being used to house, feed, and care for migrants who are being placed in various communities around the country. And that's federal government dollars, I believe, ultimately is where it comes from. Is there any push to roll this debt ceiling limit into some type of a solution for our southern border? Is there any I can't think of the word. Is there any connection there between the two?
So the short answer to that is no. Both basically the White House and the House negotiators have a list of things they're willing to negotiate and a list of things that have been taken off the table. And any level of immigration reform has been taken off the table at this point. So, we've talked on this program a lot about immigration reform and how it's impossible to try and come to any sort of consensus. There's no way they're going to further complicate what has already become a way more complicated issue than it needs to be in terms of the debt ceiling negotiations by trying to horn in a conversation about immigration. And, to your point about the expense that is being made for migrants, you're not wrong in that regard, but there's a greater expense by just not doing something for them. And so that's always been the rub with immigration, is that the true investment to stop this problem, neither side seems to be willing to come to the table and agree upon, and that's why it just keeps getting worse and worse.
It's we look. It's easy to look at the southern border and say, well, we just need to close the border. It unfortunately is not that simple. A better strategy, and it's been a U.S. strategy for quite some time, is you make sure that those South American countries are not as corrupt, are not living in such poverty, so that those people would like to stay in their own country. It seems like we're losing a bit of control of that situation.
Well, it's interesting you raise that point, Bill, because the same kind of members of the Republican Party that have become more nationalist, more isolationist, more America first, the same ones that are saying shut the border down, are the same ones that are also saying cut foreign aid to these other countries because we should only be spending money at home. And you're absolutely right. Part of the reason that we have migration into this country is because our standard of living is so much better than other countries around the world. If we're going to stem that tide, we have to help make the situation safer and more economically prosperous in these other countries. And you know what? While we are neglecting to do that, while we are rolling back that investment, guess who's filling in the gaps all over the world? It's the Chinese Communist Party. They're investing millions and trillions of dollars in places like Africa, the Panama Canal, and South America, all these places that we have decided the investment is not worth it. China is filling that role, and that's going to come with a cost down the road. None of these solutions are easy. You can't just shut off the spigot in any way, shape, or form and just assume the problem's going to go away. One more
issue. There have been a couple of stories that have been misinformation stories, fake news, I guess. One of them was the story of the veteran who was kicked out of his apartment so that migrants could be put in there. Turns out that story is not true. However, there is a growing story in Syracuse. It looks like there's an injunction to prevent a bus load of migrants coming up from New York City. At least that is a local court injunction right now. But there is a situation where the hotel, which is really long-term stays, people staying for longer than a month. In many cases, they've lived there for over 2 years. These people have all been given eviction notices and said they have to leave. And now we find out that they're trying to bring up a busload of migrants and let them live there. Literally, there is an owner of a hotel chain who is kicking out people who have lived there for months and months and months to be able to take more money to put migrants from New York City in. That story is real. It's been investigated by Syracuse.com, and it's a rough story. I mean, it's a really not a story about migrants as much as it is a story about corporate greed.
Well, and Bill, it's so funny you raised this particular point about what to do with all of these migrants who basically just need a place to go.
Right.
And every time this story comes up, I just think about Utica. And not that I'm suggesting that every one of these migrants should be housed in Utica, but I'm saying the model that Utica has shown the rest of the world in terms of its welcoming of refugees and how the refugees in Utica from all different parts of the world, from these war-torn countries, these different places. And I remember during my time living there about how they just injected this brilliant culture and diversity to the community and also became important members of the economic engine of Utica's revitalization. And I'm not, the situation with the migrants crossing the southern border is a lot more complicated than refugees that are.
It is, and it's been drafted. The picture's been painted much differently than war-torn Bosnian coming and Afghans coming and that sort of thing. This has become very political.
Right, and it's too bad because Utica would serve as a model for the rest of the country to say, if we did this in a more orderly fashion, if we processed these individuals and we vetted them to make sure that their intentions were pure, and then you took them to a place that's dying for the kind of energy and the injection of just human capital in places like Utica all around the country, this could turn into a positive story.
Situation.
I mean, Utica's so proud of the impact that refugees have had on that community, and migrant, refugee, that's an interchangeable word in many respects. And if we just change the
narrative, I think
this conversation,
you're right.
It could be done a lot differently.
Ryan, as always, we appreciate it. We'll talk next week. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Ryan Nobles from NBC, WIBX, Utica, Rome.
There are 21 crosses outside Robb Elementary. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, a memorial to those massacred 1 year ago today in Uvalde, Texas.
We will be living a life of deja vu because we will be reliving our moments.
Verlinda Ariola's granddaughter, Amory, was one of the 19 students shot dead along with 2 teachers.
An 18-year-old gunman inside Robb Elementary more than an hour before